Welcome to round 5 of the Formula Sim Racing World Series. Today we're here in Gilles Villeneuve Circuit in Montreal, and it promises to be a fantastic race. If you remember back to last season, we saw plenty of thrilling racing here, and I'm sure this circuit is going to live up to all the hype today. And with me in the commentary box to call the action is James Tucker. And James, what are your opinions on this circuit?
Well, after seeing the World Trophy race earlier today, it was absolutely fantastic. That long backstretch gives you a great chance to overtake. And also such an exciting finish, and we should get similar racing today in this World Series race. Hello? Hello? Sorry about that, obviously some technical problems for Liam. I'm new to this, so still learning driver names, etc. But really looking forward to this race, especially after seeing that fantastic race earlier. In Q1 at the moment. I'm just having to check read all the different tabs to try and learn the names. I tried watching Monaco as well, which looked like a pretty intense race as well, but sadly no commentary, which obviously isn't very useful if you want to learn names. And obviously learn the second name, first name, more of a challenge. Liam should be with us in just a second. So obviously in Q1 top 10 going through from Jeffrey Rietveld, the Netherlands, at the top time in sheets. Sorry if I butcher anybody's names. Give me a little tap of how actually to pronounce it in future. And then Keithley then, also in second at the moment, with a lap just a tenth off Rietveld's time. Pole and the race victory last time went to Eduard Mallorquí from Spain. And the driver's stand is also looking pretty interesting in this series at the moment.
I was holding the wrong button. Oh yeah, so as James said, not long left then in the qualifying session. Just to look at the guys who are outside of the top 10 at the moment. Mohamed Patel just did a lap. He goes 11th, which has moved him in front of Marcus Hoffman. But with 1 minute 25 to go, he's going to struggle to get another decent lap in. He's going to have around 10 seconds, so he's really going to be under pressure now to break into that top 10.
Yeah, just off the cusp of the top 10. It seems these times are really, really close and competitive at the moment. Literally half of a tenth, so 5/100ths of a second outside that top 10, but time is running out in the session.
57 second left then, so it's almost a last chance saloon for some of these rear end drivers. And the thing is though, with everyone having the same idea of doing a late lap, the track is going to get very busy very quickly. As we said, a field of 26 drivers today, so it gets, you know, quite busy with 20 odd, so trying to fight for track space is going to be vital in this part of the session. Yeah,
especially since the Montreal circuit isn't the longest, certainly, of the circuits, and also it's quite hard to find space. It's very hard to get past a slower driver, especially with these chicanes in the first part of the lap. In the second part of the lap it's a bit easier to give way, but really do have to find a nice gap. We don't want to be affected by the error of the car in front.
And here's an interesting point as well, from first place to P19 there is Andre Hoffman. There's a gap of just under a second, 0.988 separate Andre Hoffman from your provisional pole to Jeffrey Rietveld. So pretty much anyone can try and break into this top 10 if they just find some time, as it's going to literally be the last chance saloon to drivers cross the line. The timer hits 0. Let's see who can somehow break into the top 10. Matteo Vecchione has made the cut there on ATR management. He will be quite disappointed. Mohamed Patel on a lap. Dimitri De Matos also won't make cut, but let's see what Mohamed Patel can do.
Rietveld just crossing the line. He's obviously safe up there in P1, but like you say, all you have to do is pick it up on one corner and you can completely turn it around from anywhere down to P22, which is 1.124 seconds off. You can really turn it around.
See what Anthony Yang can do then in the AT Racing team. He's a bit off the pace there actually. AT Racing normally in the midfield, currently sits P24 as he approaches in towards the final chicane so easily to lose the car into Champions. So he doesn't do that, and across the start finish straight he goes. There's a twister in the background of Mohamed Patel looking to settle that. Anthony Yang can't improve, unfortunately. Mohamed Patel still down in 30th place, so he could not better himself, and he's going to have a very tricky race indeed then.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, we did see the winner from 10th position in the World Trophy race, so qualifying important, clearly, especially in those early laps you want to avoid an incident. But perhaps at this race you really can overtake, so it's not the end of the world for Mohamed Patel.
Yep, so going to shortly move into qualifying 2 then. Your provisional top 10 are Jeffrey Rietveld for AT Racing, Jack Keithley in Precision Motorsports. He's followed by Martin Gosby, Stefan Rual, Rob van Starkenberg, who's got his birthday wishes under control at the moment in P5, Marcus Hoffman in P6 for Go Speed, Ivor Kalamis is 7th, Eros Musculi gets his ATR management into the top 10, followed by Edward Mallorquí and Philip Pushka. So they will do battle very shortly for pole position, and only one of them is going to be sitting on the pole, and right now it's looking pretty good for Jeffrey Rietveld, but we've seen before it can all change in qualifying 2. All eyes, all teams, all team bosses, drivers, and of course you guys watching at home will be focusing on one driver doing a lap. So the pressure is on now to try and get, you know, the best lap you can possibly do. Weeks and months of testing are all going to come down to this lap.
Yeah, the one lap pace is really key in these qualifying sessions, especially since in Q2 you're only allowed one lap. So the pressure, you know, if you come up to the World Champions, you know you're on a good lap, but you could just push that little bit harder, get those extra positions, but sometimes you might just push it too hard and mess up that lap, and then you'll be starting right down the bottom of the top 10.
Yeah, last year's champion Jeffrey Rietveld, of course, will be looking to try and re-kickstart his championship hopes of making it 2 in a row. He's got first place last time, but obviously the first man then who's trying to join the track, I believe, is Edward Mallorquí at the moment. So let's see what Milwaukee can do then. It's so, I mean, we've seen this before as well in FSR, drivers who actually can almost lose it on the outlap, just warm the tyres a bit too much or take a bit too much curb, and that really can damage your motivation.
Yeah, Milwaukee the winner last time out, and also the pole sitter last time out, so he's surely got good momentum coming into this race. But can it transfer these two circuits, Monaco and Montreal? They're actually quite similar in their street circuit feel. The wall's very close and very tough on cars as well. High rates of attrition at those circuits, but the long straights of this one are completely different to anything you'll find at Monaco.
Absolutely, and the first man on track and coming up to start his hot lap is actually GTO Mega driver Ivan Kalami. So let's take a ride on board with him then as he begins to enter his qualifying bid for the 2012 Formula Sim Racing World Series Montreal Grand Prix. Into turn 1, brakes very late, bumps over the curve slightly there, gets a bit deep into turn 2, nothing major, a little bit of opposite lock, but once again finds a bit of traffic there in terms of Philip Push, who sensibly moves out the way. Into turn 3, dip the car in and flick it left to carefully not touch the wall. So easy to lose the car there, which Kalamis has not done. It's looking like a picturesque lap at the moment as he flicks the car in, holds it well. I'll tell you what, that GTO Mega is holding very nicely under the hands of Ivan Kalamis. There's no fight at all from it that we've seen from some cars as he comes in towards the second sector.
Under the bridge and through this slightly more open chicane, putting it right up against the wall then on the exit of that corner, and next into the hairpin. Got to brake quite early for this one in order to get the best exit onto this long straight.
Holds it in very late indeed as well as he comes off the curb. Great launch as he comes down the back straight. Of course, this will be the prime overtaking opportunity during the race, but right now all Kalamis is focused on is getting the fastest time possible and the best entry into the chicane and not slamming it into Champions Wall, which is called so for a very good reason. Hopefully we won't see any champions in the wall today, and Kalamis, bit of oversteer there, but nothing too major as he crosses the line, and the benchmark time is a 1 minute 15.615. So a couple of other drivers on laps at the moment. Edward Milwaukee goes to cross the line, and he does a 1:15.555, so 0.06 quicker than Ivan Kalami, so he's your provisional pole sitter at the moment.
Very close here at the top, and we've just got sorry, I'm just having a bit of trouble with the live timing.
Eros Musculi crossed the line. He was a bit off the pace there as well. He was a good 0.7 seconds slower as Stefan Royal, Edward Milwaukee's teammate, betters his teammate's time by 0.212 seconds.
Jeffrey Rietveld right on the back straight now, and he's got some good sector times in the first and second sector, purple in the second sector. So let's see what he can do after fastest in Q1. He's off the wall of champions, quite tidy through there, maybe not giving it all, but maybe playing safe across the line, and he's second on the grid, on the front row at the moment.
So looking good for Jeffrey Rietveld on his return to the World Series. Is anyone else going to damage his front row hopes? Jack Keithley could be one of them, the precision driver. He will be the next man to set a lap time. In towards the chicane he comes then. Maxed out, pedal to the metal. Brakes very late indeed there by Keithley. Flings the car in. Tries to keep it out the wall. Bit of a touch there, but no oversteer. And across the line, Jack Keithley comes. And that puts him third. He couldn't quite beat Rietveld, but it was very close between them indeed. Just 0.02 of a second. So the next man to settle up then will be Marcus Hoffman in Ghost Speed. What kind of pace can he do? As Rob Van Starkenberg will be the last man to settle up. Could this be a birthday wish come true when he blew out his candles earlier today? Currently P9, we'll see what he can do. But Marcus Hoffman then, he spun it nearly. That's a big save there by Marcus Hoffman, but that's going to damage his lap time, unfortunately. Across the line, it's a 1:16.5, and that surely damages hopes of a decent qualifying result there. The last man to set a time then will be this man, Rob Van Starkenberg, driving for the NetRex Academy team, looking quite tidy at the moment. Really has matured over the past couple of years in the sim racing industry. We've seen him get down and dirty almost in lots of sim racing leagues. Got plenty of experience now. He's going to be looking to use that all and a little bit more today as he goes for a win in Montreal.
Quite an average first sector time, 21.493. Let's see what he can do in the second sector, down in the hairpin, getting right on the apex, and a little bit of an early exit actually.
Down the back straight he comes then, looking fairly good for the NetRex driver as of now. As he's maxed out that NetRex car, foot flat on the floor, in towards the final chicane.
This is where you can gain on lap times.
Swings it in, lucky, oh, brushes the wall slightly there. And hopefully, let's see what Rob van Starkenberg can do. Where does it put him? It puts him 7th. So not a bad result, but your pole position man for the World Series. Round 5 is Stefan Rual for Roberto GP. A man we're used to seeing up front. He's followed by Jeffrey Rietveld, who is looking extremely competitive. So we'll see what he can do during the race. We'll have a quick warm-up session now. So just a 10-minute cool-down almost. Last chance for the drivers to make any adjustments to their cars. And almost just, you know, get a quick briefing from their team boss or how to approach the race. And so obviously, say, for instance, you know, you've qualified 5th or 6th place. What would your kind of motivation levels be going into the race now?
Well, you could really make up quite a few spots off this start, because not because there's a long run down to the first corner, there's really not, but because there's often incidents at this first corner. It's really tricky, complex, and often if you can avoid all the incidents, you can actually make up a few positions. So that's what they'll be thinking. Now the guys even further back, they'll be hoping for a massive incident. They'll be wanting one basically, because you can really make up lots of time, lots of positions on this start. It's really key to having a brilliant race.
Absolutely. Then, as the drivers get ready for their just little cool-down session after a very heated qualifying session with some of these drivers, especially one man who will want to cool down is Marcus Hoffman. We saw his mistake coming out of the final chicane. If you do that during the race,
what a save that was! He was completely sideways.
And let's look at the amount of cars in the pit lane. It's very interesting to see. As he wants to get out first, you see Lukas Lakovic parking his Emirates Racing right in the middle, and hopefully no contact as they'll try and scramble for track position.
Yeah, they all want.
As they'll come out, as Lakovic comes out first, you see Olben Desley going, cuts the pit lane exit almost there to try and gain a position. And now you see
clean air.
Jack Keithley stopped in the pit lane. Oh, he's going again now, but that could have been a bit dangerous. He's got his Precision Motorsports car going again.
All a bit of a hornet's nest here. They all obviously practicing the racing moves as well, because they've got to learn where's best to overtake on this track. You know, it's you can be patient and you can wait for that back straight. But often you'll see guys going into any one of these chicanes it's possible to pass. Almost every corner here actually is an overtaking corner. It's quite an incredible circuit.
Absolutely, and a lot of these drivers will be looking to make the most of that today and try and claim a victory here at Gilles Villeneuve circuit. It's a very prestigious circuit, as you say, to try and claim a victory at, and it'll be one that will look very good on the driver's CV.
Absolutely.
So also
slide there in the final corner. Martin Gosby going steady. Looks like contact with Alban Desley.
Not long to go then now, maybe some pre-race nerves for some of these drivers, but hopefully not too many as we see some of the drivers start their first hot laps then. It's interesting to see who's running the kind of heavier fuel loads and who's not. I mean, obviously, this race is quite long as well, so strategy is obviously going to play a very important part today.
Absolutely. Tyres don't really wear as much as at most tracks at Montreal, so tyre conservation maybe won't be such a big factor as what you usually see, but certainly heavy fuel loads and low fuel loads really help your straight line speed for one thing down that long back straight, which is absolutely key. And it's definitely a set-up compromise of this very stop-start sort of circuit. The downforce in those chicanes compared with high straight line speed down the back straight, and also the front straight and the straight from the first chicane down to the second chicane also pretty long.
Yep, the time's flooding in thick and fast, and as Jeffrey Rietveld, as suspected, sets the provisional fastest time of a 1:16.585 from Rob van Starkenberg, doing a 1:17.289. Jack Keithley puts his Precision Motorsports just behind Jeffrey Rietveld. Of course, those two know each other very well from last season, so a lot of the times very close as well. Now you'll start to see this is kind of race pace for some of these drivers, and also they'll use this opportunity to learn maybe the driving styles of some of the drivers. If you're starting 10th, you want to learn how, the guy at 9th takes the first corner to try and make that jump on him. So you'll see guys like maybe Dimitri de Matos, Mohamed Patel, who's very unlucky ultimate qualifying 3 session just use all they can at this session to learn about the drivers around them.
Yeah, that's absolutely key, especially to make overtaking manoeuvres. When you're following another car, you want to see where he's weakest, and you want to pick up on those weaknesses and capitalise on them. So if you see he's weakest in the hairpin, then where are you going to try and overtake him? And if you see he's strong on exit of turn 4, then obviously that's where you've got to try and improve your lap. So looking at other drivers definitely is a key way to making up positions in the race.
Absolutely. 6 minutes to go then before the race begins. As you say, the time's coming in quick and fast now. The top 6 all doing 1:16s. Philip Pushka doing a 1:16.993 is the last man to do that. Who's just behind them. With Malorki, we've seen some very feisty race. We've seen him make some fantastic manoeuvres. Not all of them go to plan, but nonetheless it makes some exciting racing and exciting viewing as well. So, unlike qualifying, the field's actually pretty separated in terms of lap times at the moment. You've got, as you say, the top 7 doing 1:16s, and you've got a group down to 12th place doing 1:17s, and then the kind of lower rear end of the field doing 1:18s. So very kind of varied field today, separated into different groups.
Well, perhaps that suggests that while they're all very similar on their one lap qualifying pace, in race pace we could be seeing different speeds, and that will make the race very interesting, especially if there's cars which are perhaps faster than their qualifying position suggests, trying to make their way up through the field. We'll see some great overtaking if that's the case.
Absolutely, so not long to go now then. We see Eros Masfili actually stopped on track there. He's back in pit lane now, but that was definitely a hazard. And we see as well, this track actually really is a very, typically contains a very high attrition rate, and with 26 cars on the field heading into a very tight first corner, I'm sure we're going to see a couple of fireworks going off, but hopefully not too many. But surprisingly, the World Series, even though it has 26 drivers, has had a very surprisingly low attrition rate this season so far. Over half the drivers have finished all the races this season, so very professional driving in the World Series.
Well, that's excellent to see, certainly, as these guys try and impress to make their way into the World Championship. I'm sure team bosses all watch these great World Series events in order to assess where the next drivers of the FSR league, the next top big thing, is developing.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course the division below that is the World Trophy, and the race earlier also took place at Montreal, so... Oh, and Peter Duval there with a big spin. Peter Duval, of course, actually took some time out and went to Sim Raceway at their headquarters and did some racing there, so very experienced Peter Duval, won the opening round of the season, of course, and very, very competitive young man, and currently looking like a very worthy title contender, so it'll be interesting to see who can kind of top him today. He currently sits in warm-up, well, not doing too bad, he's 14th at the moment, needs to try and find a bit of pace. His best time's a 1:17.256, but we've got 3 minutes to go then until the race begins, as the drivers will get moved to their grid positions.
Yeah, Peter Duval looking like a very, very strong championship contender, especially considering that he's missed the race at China and he's still only 5 points off the championship lead from Jack Keithley, who's yet to win a race, but 2 second places at Malaysia and China.
This is a prime
Jeffrey
example of...
Rietveld.
This is a prime example that you don't have to be the fastest driver, it's just all about consistency, and they don't come more better than Jack Keithley in terms of that. He really is a very hard-working, consistent driver, constantly there, sometimes the unsung hero of the race, and you don't really see much of him during the broadcast, but he will always be there within that top 5 or 6 drivers, keeping his head down and getting the job done that needs to be done.
Well, that's exactly the key to winning these championships, because you can win as many races as you want, but if you have 4 or 5 bad days, there's a big incident with Edmund Malorki going ploughing into a stopped car there. I'm not quite sure who was stopped, but it looked like someone spun the second chicane. So as you can see, really easy to make a mistake around this circuit as well, which is absolutely key to the attrition rate, and consistency in the race as well as in the championship could be key just to today.
Not long at all to go, and then just less than 2 minutes to go until we go green flag racing at Montreal. And let's look at some of the times. So yeah, with just 26 car field, as you said, Luka Slakovic currently hasn't set a lap yet as he dives into the pit lane in his Emirates Racing team. He's been very hard testing this week as he goes in for a quick practice for a pit stop, it seems. I mean, pit stops are so important in this race. They really can make or break a good result, and it's so important to get them right.
Yeah, absolutely. If you stop just over your marks or just short of your marks, that can cost you 3-4 positions on the racetrack, especially on the first pit stops of the day. So it's really, really crucial you hit your marks, and the team does a good job on these pit stops. And this pit lane as well, it's quite a narrow entrance and an interesting exit actually. It doesn't feed you into turn 1 or on the straight before turn 1 as most do. It actually feeds you right on the outside of turn 2, which often can be a bit of a surprise for cars that are still on the track, as they see the new cars, the cars exiting the pit lane coming out just in front of them, and often results in some interesting battles as well.
Absolutely, and one interesting point as well is that we say Jeffrey Rietveld, of course, last year's champion, moved from Precision Racing and a bit locking the brakes there, but second place on his return to the World Series. It's his maiden race back in the series, so to be there and warm up and of course having a great result in qualifying, this is looking very promising for the young star. You can go through the field, of course, Mr. Consistency team there, Stefan Royal, Edward Malorky, 5th and 6th for Roberto GP at the moment, 20 seconds to go.
And actually Matteo Vecchioni has actually taken the top spot at the top of the lap time at the moment for 1:16.242, which is even faster than Jeffrey Rietveld's time. So that's one to watch out for in the race, maybe.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, if you see laps like that from people in the midfield during the entire race, it's going to be very close competitive racing at front. The top 15 drivers all on a 1:16 at the moment, 7 tenths apart separating the top 15, so as we get ready to go to the race.
And of course, as we saw in the World Series race, you can never count your chickens before they've hatched. You've got to be completely on it all throughout the race, because looked like the Twister Racing driver had it won in the World Series race, but he really didn't, because with just 2 laps to go, got taken out by a lapped car, and he finished 3rd at the end, actually completing the final 2 laps on 3 wheels. A really exciting finish.
So hopefully we'll see just as much excitement here today then. It's always been known, as we said, to throw up some exciting results. I said, of course, last season that this was my favourite race of the season in Montreal. Just threw up some very close, very exciting racing. It's a track that really can bring out another side to a driver. It's like you don't see very often.
Yeah, that's it, because it's quite a unique track, isn't it?
Absolutely, it literally has everything, so many long straights, very tight corners, and you say a lot of overtaking opportunities, and with 70 laps, I'm sure we're going to see plenty of overtaking. So 17 seconds then, until Stefan Roy will lead the field around the circuit on a formation lap, and I'm sure tensions are rising within each garage now as the teams get ready to put it all on the line and hope for a race win today. Round 5 of the season is starting to get a bit tense now. The field's starting to separate out into the title contenders, ETC, as Royal leads the field away then into turn 1, and the rest of the field follow.
This warm-up lap is all about getting temperature into those tyres, making sure everything's working just fine. Don't want any first lap gremlins, and it's really, really key actually to make sure that everything is under control and you're completely confident at the start of the race.
Absolutely, of course the 2 Twister drivers actually starting side by side, so you don't want to see those 2 make contact. Of course, that is the team Aussies worst nightmare, watching your 2 drivers collide in a silly error which could have been avoided as the field snake around. The Gilles Villeneuve circuit, of course, named after the legendary Formula 1 driver, so hopefully there'll be a legendary performance today just to match the status of this track. I mean, we've seen so many great racing here, not just in Formula Sim racing but across all sim racing leagues. This really is a fantastic track to race at and provide some very entertaining action, so hopefully we'll see nothing short of that today. And I'm sure Stefan Roy will be getting a bit nervous now as he leads the field up easy again. One of those drivers used to be up front. Can he handle the pressure though? What will Jeffrey Rietveld be like? His first time back in Formula Sim racing, and he's second on the grid. He's got a lot of hype to live up to now, if you like. So he needs to try and just get his head down, get the job done. And is he going to be a title contender? We're only going to find out one way, and that's to watch him race. Is he going to make a move into turn 1 on Stefan Roy? So many thoughts now rushing through these drivers' minds, just as they are the commentators.
Yeah, they've got to think of their strategy. Will they be all out into those first few corners, or will they hold back, hope to avoid any incidents and just get through there safe? It is a long race. You know, there's no point in blowing it all on the first lap. but certainly it's a great time to get lots of positions.
Then down the back straight for the final time at this speed until the end of the race. The field start to come out of the chicane behind them. You can see them all come around. Last minute chance to warm up the brakes, make sure the engine's all up to temperature as they line up on their grid spots, eyes on the prize as we get ready to go racing at Montreal. 70 long laps. It's going to be almost an endurance test for some of these drivers, and it's all just going to be a key of who can hang their head down the longest, who can try and get the job done, and who can make probably some of the most audacious attempts. You see a car going backwards there. I think that's Mohammed Patel reversing after missing his grid spot slightly.
That's not a good way to start the race, going backwards.
So just getting ready now for the 5 red lights. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Out now, and away they go. And Stefan's got a great start immediately, cutting off there. Jeffrey Rietveld is trying to go round the outside. Is he going to do it? There's a bit of carnage going on there, and I think somehow they've all made it through.
Keithley's gone to the lead.
He's going through the rest of the field, and it's all hustle and bustle, but luckily, there's a car at the back there, and there's a silver line, and that is of Marco Vury, who's actually lost his front right wheel. Eros Muscuni P12, so back through the field. As you said, Jack Keithley jumps into the lead after a fantastic start there.
What a great start. Rout and Rietveld were so caught up in battling each other that Keithley managed to get past the pair of them. And that was a really piece of intelligent racing there. Very clever, and he's got the lead now, and can he keep it? That's the question.
There's a field stream behind them then. Let's just watch them as they snake around in towards Casino Hairpin. Keithley leads them round. See if there's any overtaking attempts showing the backfield. You see there, that is one of the GT Omegas, I believe. That's Alban Desley opening on Cyril Vermeulen for a move, and towards the rear end of the field, that's Hoffman with that front ring, who's holding up his team of Sorales towards the end of the field.
And as they come down, it's a final chicane. Looks like there's a Butch trying to move on Von Starken, but not holding off, and everybody gets through there safely.
Going to be 3 wide almost into the chicane. That was very close, and it's almost into the champions wall there. Somehow managed to keep it through good.
And almost 3 wide again at the back.
Into turn 1, Phil will go then. There's a car off there, that's Hernandez, and he seems like on the track. Almost collected there. That was very close.
Very close. They were racing 3 wide there into the first corner, and there was just no space for them at all. He shot off and nearly collected on the car coming back onto the track quite dangerously.
Yeah, but still then Jack Keithley leads the race at the moment. He's followed, of course, none other than your Polster. No, Edward Malorki is up to 4th place. He's done a great job of getting his Zobato up there so far. Jeffrey Rietveld 3rd. Martin Gosby up to 5th position as they go in towards Casino. Having a bit of a lock up there from Rietveld. And is that going to unleash Edward Malorki onto the back of him? Let's watch this then. Rietveld, luckily, this is what we love about the straight. I mean, if you're in pack racing almost, you're not really going to get caught by the car behind. If there's another car in front that's managing to pull you away, is look at Jeffrey Rietveld looking for a mid-run reward, who thinks better of it. They don't want to go risking it through there this early on in the race. And that's a very fine idea it was as well.
Yeah, Ruat is right under pressure from Rietveld at the moment into turn number 1. And Rietveld dives to the inside. Will he get it? Will he contact? Just manages to avoid contact, but very close. Quite an opportunistic move, but it didn't pay off in the end.
Yep, it's Stefan Raden. Let's see what he can do and what his defending skills like as they're put to the test by last year's champion Jeffrey Rietveld, of course, sporting a Michael Schumacher-esque helmet. Jack Keithley needs to build a lead now. He's got 2 very feisty drivers behind him, and you really don't want to try and get involved with those, as Marco Vury is our first confirmed retirement, unfortunately. Of course, lap 1 with an incident, but surprisingly the field got through all okay so far. There's Peter Duvlat down in 17th at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do if he can weave his way through the field, and he's just behind Dimitri Dematos at the moment.
Yeah, and they're still battling down to happen.
That is out of the race. That's Fabian Guckel for the GS Racing team. He's had a suspension problem. Luckily, he didn't collect anyone, but unfortunately, that's his race over. Just 2 laps in, as Jack Keithley pulls away at the front. And you see, oh, and he's gone wide, Jeffrey Rietveld's gone wide, and Rietveld took great driving there, 1 not to slam it into Champions Wall, and 2 to somehow overtake without contact. Jeffrey Rietveld down in 3rd position, looking for a move into turn 1, can't quite get it done, big mistake there, and how much is that going to cost Jeffrey Rietveld?
Well, now he's lost that position, he seems to be holding the 2 guys behind him up actually a little bit, everyone Milwaukee and Gosby, because now Rietveld seems to be pulling a little bit of a gap, so perhaps the pole sitter, fast in qualifying, not so fast in the race at the moment.
Yeah, let's see what he can do then, as you see Edward Milwaukee in the Alberto GP car try and look for a move as they're coming towards the 2nd sector of the track. Obviously I think Casino Hairpin is going to be the ideal overtaking opportunity, or an ideal opportunity to perhaps get a slipstream going down the straight as he brakes very late.
It's possible Route is running a higher fuel load perhaps, hoping to get that good launch away from the pole, which he didn't get, and then defend the lead, and then he'd be in a prime position, but it didn't work out that way, and perhaps that's why he's a little bit slower than he was in qualifying at the moment. Right
now he has to defend for Edward Milwaukee. Rule moves to the defensive inside line, job well done. Immediately shut the door there on Edward Milwaukee, and he's not going to be too happy about that one. He needs to try and find a way through as quickly as possible. You can see him weaving around behind him, trying to find a little bit of a door opening and almost touching the back end there. You don't want to get too feisty this early on, Edward. Just try and keep your head cool.
Yeah, perhaps he's trying to distract him there. Fill his mirrors full of him and he'll get so distracted he won't actually watch the road in front of him, is probably his hope. But meanwhile, look how Jeffrey Rietveld is this group, because they're battling, and even more so, Jack Keithley up front is clear a massive gap. He's 1.4 ahead of Jeffrey already and 2.4 ahead of Route.
Mohammed Patel still in 11th position after qualifying. Marcus Hoffman up to 9th after a bit of a poor qualifying session behind Matteo Vecchioni. Rob van Starkenberg still where he started in P7. Philip Pushker in 6th, trying to hunt down the go speed of Martin Gosby. Edward Milwaukee once again, that consistency team every while on Milwaukee. 4th and 3rd. Maybe that's why they're taking it a bit too cautious. Milwaukee doesn't want to try and jeopardise his teammates' good finish. They're both worthy title contenders, and both obviously have the pace to be up front, so I think they're just going to have to be a bit careful about how and when they overtake each other, but I can't see it happening. Milwaukee tries to find a little bit of a door, but he needs to be close enough, and if that was another driver he would have gone for something there, but of course being a teammate you don't want to risk it.
Oh, it'd be such an embarrassment to take off your teammate. There's nothing worse in racing than to do that, and especially since teammates often build up great friendships, and there's nothing better than that than a crash on the track.
Masculi P14 trying to find a way past Cyril Vermeulen, but great defending from Vermeulen. Sorry to interrupt you there, as Masculi needs to try and push away through. He's lost a bit of time. That's the thing, if you try to overtake into turn 1, you will come out a bit deeper, and you will unfortunately give that bit of drive to the car you're chasing, and you're going to do all that work again.
Actually, Jack Keithley just a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the corner there, and Rietveld's caught it up a little bit, 1.1 seconds now, so Rietveld just closing a little bit up at the front.
Absolutely, so back down the field then, let's just take a look. Mohammed Patel breaks into the top 10 after Fred Gosling, P11 at the moment. As the question is, I mean, let's look at this, there is a bit of a train forming actually behind Stefan Rual, who's 3rd position. You've got Milwaukee just behind him. Martin Gosby starting to slowly catch up, and he's going to be carrying Philip Pushka. And then just behind him, of course, you have Rob van Starkenberg. So top 7 all very close to each other. And if Rual doesn't quite hold off from Milwaukee for as long as possible, it's got to try and get there could be a bit of a train going on there, as Rietveld needs to try and catch Jack Keithley as soon as he can. He's not doing too badly at the moment. He's gained a 10th there. The gap down to 1.212 seconds as they're on lap 7 out of 70. So 10th of the way through. Sure, we'll be approaching the first round of pit stops in around 10 laps or so. So all strategy will start to become apparent for some of these drivers.
And look at Milwaukee all over the back of Route, but he obviously can't be too much pushing the issue, because if he causes him to have a mistake, then he'll never hear the end of it. Actually, Gosby seems under attack from Push there in the background.
Yeah, Pushka very close to him out again. Another driver, as like Jack Keithley, who has proved himself over the past couple of years here in FSR, of course, World Trophy last season. Made a lot of good drives there in a unfortunate, unreliable car, but he got the job done, and now he's just trying to find Gosby and try and push his way past. Of course,
Meanwhile, sorry, go ahead.
just ex-race winner, of course, this year. So Pushka definitely a title contender, wants to keep those dreams alive. And to do that, he's got to get past Martin Gosby. And of course, back in front, you've got Malorki and Rual, who again, it's a little bit of time to Jeffrey Rietveld go now. Rietveld, however, still hammering away at that lead, down to 1.138 now.
Weebler in the background, way back down in the field in 16th place. That's not a good place to be if you're the winner of the first two races. He must be getting pretty frustrated at the moment. Seeming to be a bit held up by Desley and Masic. I can't pronounce that one. I don't want to butcher anybody's name. But yeah, he seems to be really getting feisty at the moment behind these slower cars, you would think. And of course, as the winner of the first two races, he's wanting to get a move on at the moment. Perhaps have to look to strategy.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
make
I mean, only two retirements, as we've said though so far. Marco Vieri and Fabian Guckel. Still 24 drivers remain in the race. Andre Hoffman, the last of those at the moment in the Sim Racing team. As we take a look at, just go through the field trying to find about Matteo Vecchioni trying to catch Rob van Starkenberg now. So this is what I was on about with the train forming. 7 seconds separate the top 8, and it's coming down all the time. As Keithley managed to pull out a tenth of a second there out of Jeffrey Rietveld, and Vecchioni's been very deep there into the final corner, and lucky not to collect champions. All great save, but that's just how dangerous this chicane can be, and that gap's come back down now. Rietveld down to 1.025, so it's slowly fading away. And is it time for Keithley to maybe think of an early pit stop?
Meanwhile, Luka Oslakovic is having to defend very hard against Cyril Verdmuller into turn 1 there. He was having a real go at him, but he's managed to keep the position for now, back there in 12th place. Meanwhile, off the front, Jeffrey Rietveld has caught Jack Keithley, but he's got it down to a second now. So he's catching, but it's a bit slow at the moment. Perhaps he's just waiting there, seeing how the race progresses, and then maybe thinking about making the attack a little bit later. He seems to have the pace at least to match Keithley at the moment, if not to follow it. Not to catch him even.
Yep, so on to lap 9 of 70, and as they come towards lap 10, seems that Keithley actually does get a bit of a gain through the middle sectors, and then as it goes towards the final sectors, it seems to lose again as Jeffrey Rietveld crosses the line. And let's see what the gap is as they go on towards lap 11. It's 1.167 at the moment.
Yeah, so they're just matching each other for pace at the moment. Just a bit of give and take, really. Take a tenth on one lap, lose it on the other. So at the moment it's quite evenly matched between the top two, but then as you go down to third, definitely Stefan Rout is holding up this pack at least a little bit, because Edouard Malorki is still hanging right there with him, and Gosby also is still with him a bit.
Well, the thing is though, for Malorki right now, of course, I know Stefan Rout is his teammate, but if he can't get past, you're going to unfortunately have to deal with a very feisty Martin Gosby, who would quite happily gain a couple of positions due to, them being teammates. If Malorki does make a mistake or just doesn't want to pass too long because it's his teammate, he will start to lose out to Gosby, which is what's happening here. And Gosby has gained such amount of time already as they go into Casino. Rual takes an outside line, tries to give Malorki a bit of room, but Malorki's just not close enough yet as they come down the back straight down. Let's see if Malorki can perhaps get close enough. Has he got enough time to draft the back of his Obusso teammate? Is he going to look up the inside? He goes for it, and he still had to brake late, and look who's just close right up, Martin Gosby. So this is going to get very, very interesting now.
Slammed the door there, and that actually lost him a fair bit of time, and now Martin Gosby is right over the back of him now. And definitely, maybe if that hadn't been his teammate, he'd have been a little bit later on the brakes. And oh, Gosby spinning in the background. Oh no, lag. Sorry, lag. And back down in the field, DeMatos is battling very hard, and he just went across the grass actually in turns 3 and 4, and he's just lost a couple of positions by looks of things. Richie DeMatos now into 17th place.
Silver Mulet trying to reel in the Emirates Racing, Luka Oslakovic, who had a great start actually, getting himself up into P12. so just outside the top 10 at the moment, but coming under a lot of pressure from that second position team. The gap at the front is 1.181, so kind of averaged out now, but just behind them, 3 seconds away, is Stefan. Wow, this has really helped Jeffrey Rietveld and Jack Keithley to run away with this, because Milwaukee just can't get past, and Milwaukee is looking like the fast road butto, and by doing this kind of actually helped the two leaders.
Well, I think Gosby actually did have a moment there, because he's definitely dropped back from route by at least a second. So he probably did have a moment there. It wasn't just like that he didn't hit it into the walls, I thought. Now he's right
big lock up there by Hoffman.
Right into the clutches for the push.
Hoffman currently P10 is after a moment there. He's going to unfortunately lose a bit of time. He's slipping down now to 11th. Slakovic not too far away. Oh, he's out of the race. So a DNF there for Marcus Hoffman. Let's watch a replay of that, and he comes back on track without a front wing. And I think, yeah, just decides to call it a day. Too much damage, a lot of traffic behind him. It just wasn't worth the risk. And I've made a kind of a sensible decision there.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be too good for your motivation either, running right down there near the back. It's must be quite demotivated, especially at this track where you can almost see the whole field ahead of you down that long back straight, but just can't quite get them.
Talking of the long back straight, look at this battle forming just behind Philip Pushka. Vecchioni having to defend off Starkenberg, and Mohamed Patel, we spoke about in this session. The Englishman will definitely be looking to take advantage. He's got himself up to 9th position after a poor qualifying session by his standards. So he's going to have to try and pass two feisty young drivers. Vecchioni takes the inside line to defend from Rob van Starkenberg. And this is going to be a very heated battle.
Yeah, look at Patel now. He's right on the back of them, really. He's going to mix it up with this lot. And Gosling, actually, maybe he could catch them if he speeds up a bit. And then after that, we've got a train of 4 drivers right in close proximity with each other. I can't say that one. Desley, Grubar and D'Amato, so right in close proximity, so could be racing pretty hard as well.
Absolutely, I mean the end of this first stint is all going to come down to pit stops and the lap decisions. Who's going to leapfrog who, and who's going to, unfortunately, might mess up their pit stop. This has to be, when your drivers are as close as this, it has to be 100% nail pit stop. As Van Starkenberg still trying. Look at Philip Pushka's gone into this battle, so 2 trains of 4 now. Pushka's slipped to Vecchioni. Let's see what Vecchioni can do then. Down the back straight they come. Is he going to be able to get a move? He's looking very close. The ATR management car looks to the inside. Philip Pushka surely defends as a drag race to the chicane, and Pushka pits in. So I think Pushka felt the time was right for new tyres. That's unfortunately ended that 4-way train for our entertainment values. But oh, big moment there in the background, and now it's a car gone flying as Fred Gosling into Champions Wall, the first victim of the day, and he managed to swerve it somehow. So let's just watch this again. Into the chicane he comes and just clips the barrier and then flings the car back in after losing the rear end, and that's going to be, well, could be a better time really towards the pit stop window, but unfortunately that's damaged his race hopes a hell of a lot.
It seems like a very, very long pit stop for Philip Pushka, so perhaps there was a mistake out on track because he suddenly dropped back.
Oh, and look at this!
Martin Gosby.
Peter Dublar having to try and navigate his way past his teammate. Everyone, Patel, Desley, Misculi and Dublar all have to navigate their way past. Very well done there, very professionally done. As Gosling's losing all these positions, watching these drivers fade hopelessly into the distance, and there's nothing he can do. Dublar has got past Eros Misculi. Let's see what Misculi can do now then as they come in towards Casino Hairpin. It's going to be close between them. Look at them, it's so close. As you see Misculi go a bit deep there. If you go deep there, you're going to lose a lot of time to the cars behind you. So let's see which one of these 4 pitted this lap perhaps.
Misculi, thank you.
The leaders have pitted yet.
But Pushka is back down in 23rd after that really long pit stop, so that's really, really unfortunate for him. Probably had a problem.
Who pits in? Nobody at the moment. So another lap out then. It's just going to be, well, oh, D'Amato doesn't, oh no he does, that's my computer lag, but
no takers for pit lane at the moment then, obviously. Obviously thinks lap 40 is too early. I mean, if you want to make it a 3-stop race as is expected, then lap 15 is probably actually a little bit early, considering then you'll have a much longer second and third stints.
Absolutely, Alban Desley all over the back of the ATL management. Mirrors filled of Desley's car. He's got to be careful. D'Amatos looking quite handy in the background. But as we said, this four-way battle starting to increase now. Dublar slowly slipping away from Eros Musculi. But we'll see how the field fares as they come in towards Casino Hairpin. Alban Desley needs to try and get something going here as he goes into the hairpin. Takes a bit of a wider line. Bit of a slipstream or cut back underneath.
Yeah, but D'Amatos looking brilliant on the back of him as well. So
side by side, coming into the hairpin. Sorry about that. Rob van Starkenberg across Mohamed Patel. These two very close, and Starkenberg gets it done. So Patel needs to try and get something going into turn one as soon as possible. Goes for the outside line, very well defended by Starkenberg. What can Patel do? He backs out of it. Great defending there by Rob van Starkenberg, and a great manoeuvre. So sorry to cut you off there, but that was an impressive manoeuvre by Rob van Starkenberg.
Not giving any space on the exit of the final chicane. Starkenberg absolutely squeezing him out. It was quite an incredible manoeuvre, and especially that defence there into turn one. Immediately after making the pass, recognising, right, now I've got to defend. That's a real skill of a great racing driver, who they can attack and then immediately switch back into defence mode. And now he's going to try and pull it out.
Flick the switch back into attack to try and pull away from Patel. He's not going to be too happy about that in his twisted car. Still, currently though, got his up to 8th position. He's running very well considering his qualifying time. The gap between the leaders, 1.5 seconds. This pit stop will be crucial. Who's going to pit in first, Keithley or Rietveld? And I believe Keithley's gone in. Keithley's in pit lane. So let's watch this stop then. Your race leader into the pits. Takes some cones on the way in. And let's see where he's going to feed out, of course. Hopefully the last thing you want to do is feed out behind the battle. Edward Malorky comes in.
Yeah, Malorky also to the pits. Let's see where Keithley comes out. He doesn't want to come out in too much traffic. A nice clean track would be perfect.
Well, there's Rob van Starkenberg and Mohamed Patel. He's missed that one. But just behind them, I think he's luckily got a clean space there. He couldn't have asked for a better pit stop. He's just behind Patel, and that's not where he's wanted to come out. It's the complete opposite. He's side by side with Patel almost, and now he's in front of behind two guys who are literally fighting nail and hammer just to try and pass each other. Very aggressive overtaking here. We saw Van Starkenberg literally putting it all on the line to the front from Patel, and now Keithley has to try to navigate his way around.
Landau's spun in turn one, and he keeps going just and. Well, it's very close. Callum is just about missing his car, but that was pretty close, and nobody coming out of pit lane, thank God. That was very close. But yeah, now all eyes have to be on Jeffrey Rietveld as he tries to set some fast laps, and if he can set just 1 or 2 fast laps before his pit stop, he can actually jump him now into the lead since he's behind those 2 battling cars.
Okay, he decides to stay out a lap. This is going to be a risk by the AT Racing team. Is this going to pay off or no? They've got to go. I mean, the thing is, this is actually playing out very well for Rietveld because Keithley is going to be stuck behind Patel and Van Starkenberg, who are still duelling away. And unfortunately for Jack Keithley, oh, they both pit in. This is going to be there side by side in pit lane. Sure, who's going to come out first? I think Patel's just got it. They're still side by side. This is going to be a race, and the pit boxes are right next to each other. This cannot get more heated right now, as Patel needs to try and get out as soon as possible. He's done it. Starkenberg's away too. Oh, there's Musculi! Oh, this is a terrible pit stop now. This is absolutely crazy. Starkenberg somehow manages to hold on. Patel saw the opportunity, still couldn't get the job done. But wow.
And Verdmuller tried to stop in the same pit stall as Musculi, and he had to wait actually. He actually had to wait in pit lane for Musculi's pit stop to finish. So he's lost loads. He's lost at least 5-6 positions there. And now Verdmuller coming out just in front of Bracken.
And this is what we were talking about earlier with how vital pit stops are. That was absolutely incredible to watch between Patel and Van Starkenberg. We said they were fighting tooth and hammer, and that was just taking it to the maximum there. That was great to watch. And Rietveld dives in to make his first scheduled stop of the afternoon, lap 18. So all eyes will be on him and his other main contender, Jack Keithley, who is currently P4.
Keithley have had to make some great ground up after he got that clean air. He's going to have to have really pushed his new tyres to absolute maximum. He's in the wall. He's just passing the wall of champions now.
Keithley's coming down the street. Jeffrey Rietveld leaves his pit box. He's going to be a bit close, I think. Keithley's coming. He's through. Jeffrey Rietveld leaves pit road. It's going to be close between them. And Jim Rietvald's done it. He's jumped him. Great driving there by Jeffrey Rietveld. I think what really helped him there was Jack Keithley being stuck behind Patel and Starkenberg, who are still fighting away. Starkenberg has a position, but not by much. But that really did damage Jack Keithley's opening stint towards the end, and Rietveld has now got a 1.5 second lead.
Yeah, that's absolutely the key, and also some great laps in clean air from Rietveld. Those both compounded to mean that he now has the lead, and Keithley will be furious about getting stuck behind those two cars. And of course, he probably has the warmer tyres, he probably has the advantage for about a lap, so he'll be pushing really hard to try and get right on the back of him and get the lead back.
I think this really has made this second stint a lot more interesting. We said this circuit can throw up some impressive racing, and we see a side to drivers we don't normally see. We're seeing that now. What better example than with Patel and Starkenberg? These two really are leaving it all out there on the racetrack as they come up to Vecchioni and Gosby, who are dueling away for 6th position, the ATL management car. I don't believe he's pitted in yet. Martin Gosby is going to be looking for a manoeuvre. He's got a great draft. Where's Vecchioni going to go? Moves to the outside, up the inside. Goes Martin Gosby. He was extremely defensive with Vecchioni. Oh, almost a bit of contact there. And somehow manages to keep it out the wall, but I think that's a bit too deep there by Vecchioni.
Patel locks up into the final chicane and goes right across the curve behind Starkin. Nearly took out Starkin there. Big lock up from Patel, and he's obviously pushing very hard still to get past Van Starkin. Meanwhile, Oslakovic comes out the pit. He was running 3rd, and now he looks like he's down in 9th. So that's actually worked out quite well for Oslakovic, in out just those extra 4 laps.
Couldn't really ask for a better first stint than that towards the end. That was very tense. Multiple battles going on, and another battle going on right now. It's another train of 3. Eros Masculi, Vecchioni's teammate, is having to fend off. Well, trying to almost push his way through Jordi Sorales in P13 and then Olben Destiny P12. So a little train form in there. And Philip pushing it right behind. Let's watch this then. As Masculi looks to the inside of Sorales. Pushka in the background. They surely can't go for a manoeuvre there. It's only going to end badly. And thought better of it, but has to open the door for Philip Pushka, who goes up the inside. He'll have the outside line. Have to swoop it round the casino hairpin. Let's see what he can do. Jordi Sorales just cuts across. That's a very good move. And look at that. Almost 3 wide. That's very close indeed. And look now, Jordi Sorales having to surrender that position to Eros Masculi, who's got a great draft now on Philip Pushka. Great racing here. Sorales still there trying to watch it unfold. Philip Pushka into the chicane, has the line. Masculi swoops it round. That's a great manoeuvre there by Masculi. That saved his position. And wow, that's a very daring manoeuvre there by the ATR driver.
And it's not over yet. Pushka is attacking Masculi into turn 1. Masculi
gets the defensive line. Contact. He's been pushed wide and somehow saves contact again, almost pushing each other. And Pushka somehow forced his way through. A very reluctant.
Masculi's going to try the inside again. No, thinks better of it. He nearly tried the inside again into the first chicane, but thought better of it. But you could, at one point there, you could throw a blanket over those 3 cars. They were so close. That was pretty incredible racing with those 3.
Absolutely, and Mohamed Patel and Rob Van Starkenberg battle still going underway. The distance slightly kind of distance a bit though as they come onto the back straight. Patel needs to make some ground. I've never seen 2 cars duel the way they did into pit lane. That was just utterly fantastic. But still though, your man at the front is Jeffrey Rietveld, I beg your pardon, who's actually pulling away from Keithley. A 1.871 gap now to the Englishman, and what a way to make your comeback into the World Series.
Yeah, he seems to really have pace now. He's got that clean air. We did think he was just following, just matching for lap times all the way throughout the first stint. Perhaps not wanting to hurt his tyres by getting up too close, perhaps saving his tyres. And then, when he pitted, he just pulled out some fantastic laps and managed to jump into the lead. Really, really intelligent stuff from Rietveld, who must have been quite bad after losing grid positions at the start. Well, actually not losing the grid positions.
Yeah, he's definitely making up for it now. As we just take a look through the rest of the field, still only 2 retirements, well 3 retirements, as Marcus Hoffman was the latest after going slightly wide at turn 1, losing the front wing and obviously a lot of traffic oncoming, just parked the car and called it a day. Patel still trying to get on that back end of Rob Van Starkenberg as they come in towards the casino hairpin once again, but he can't quite get the slipstream he had. Once Starkenberg got through, he just hasn't been able to recreate that momentum. And now Patel's trying to get all over the back of that Netrex car. But Rob Van Starkenberg once again this race proven his ability to be able to drive one of these cars to potential. But let's see what Mohamed Patel can do. He's got the line. That's a great draft there. Starkenberg immediately defends the inside. A bit of contact. Patel tries to push his way through. Starkenberg brakes extremely late and defends the line. That's very close. And somehow once again Van Starkenberg holds on.
Yeah, very good racing from Van Starken here. He
Patel
completely...
going up the top. Oh, look at that, that's great defending. Literally, Patel forced the inside line. Starkenberg shut the door on him immediately. And I think Patel's going to have to try and pull something special out the bag. The thinking cap will be on. He's going to need a really audacious attempt to try and get past this Rob van Starkenberg. On his birthday, he couldn't master a better drive than this.
Yeah, Van Starkenberg really very intelligent down that back straight. He made his claim very early. He was defending the inside line. He made it very clear he'd have to go around the outside.
Oh, but of corner here as Jordi Sorales gets out of the way of Ivan Kalamis, and just behind him is Roman Ivanov. So these two dueling away. Jordi Sorales, so once again finding himself in another three-way battle towards the rear end of the field. He's currently P17, goes a bit wide there as he lets Cyril Vermeulen through. So it's getting very chocker. We said the track gets quite busy, and I think it didn't expect it to get this busy this quickly. 1.8 seconds still the gap though between Jack Keithley and Jeffrey Rietveld up front. They're 5 seconds away from Malorki, who has got past Stefan Ruel. Maybe that was their plan, just a safe pass through the pit stop window was all they needed.
Patel's going for the inside of Starken. Can't quite get past Van Starkenberg there. Once again, Van Starkenberg having to drive really defensively down the long back straight in order to keep Patel behind him. Surely only a matter of time until Patel gets that position back, unless of course he wears out his tyres so much trying to attack that he actually drops off the back in terms of pace.
Well, let's see what Rob van Starkenberg has in the tank. We're not even halfway through the race yet, and Van Starkenberg's already left it all out on the racetrack. Really is driving the drive of his life right now to try and keep Patel behind him. Patel's quite a fearful guy to have behind you as well. You don't want to try and block him for too long or he will get aggressive, and Van Starkenberg is really having none of it out there.
Yeah, he's really showing he can maturely defend his position. Nothing dangerous so far from either of them, which is really great to see. Really professional driving from these two, and exciting racing too, especially that pit lane encounter. That was really quite a fantastic thing to watch.
And I'm sure it's only going to get better. I mean, this is looking, it's going to be a race-long battle almost, or until the next pit stop window. Let's see how they enter that one. But for now, Patel's got his work cut out, trying to get past Starkenberg at the front. The gap up to 2.1 seconds now, as Keithley needs to try and get something special to catch last year's champion. And right now, just can't quite do it. I think that really ended the first stint, really damaged his race.
Yeah, definitely. That was a real big problem with that. It's going to haunt him for the rest of the race now. But Keithley, he's still going for it. You know, he has dropped off the pace a little bit, but it's not unrecoverable from here. Certainly not. I mean, we saw a 14-second lead go to nothing in the last 2 laps of the race earlier today. So, I mean, a 2-second lead, and Rietveld very loose. Got lots of oversteer on the exit of the second chicane. Managed to keep hold of it, and a lock-up also into the hairpin. So, Rietveld perhaps with any tyre issues, maybe.
Yep, so I mean, it's looking fairly average out in the field now, as Eros Musculi still behind Philip Pushka. These two again had another extraordinary battle out on the track. And 2 other guys still. Patel tries to get a little bit of drive there on Starkenberg through the casino hairpin. I think what he's doing now, that he has to learn how Starkenberg approaches the corners and perhaps try and nail him or force him into an error. But right now he's literally as solid as a rock. Rob van Starkenberg is not moving from that position as they go into the chicane one more time, and Van Starkenberg just not yielding at all to Van Patel. Bit of a wobbly exit there though, off of Champions Wall, and down the straight they come to begin another lap. Patel looks up the inside, can't quite get it done, he's not close enough, and Van Starkenberg really holding on well there. He hasn't gone deep into a corner, he hasn't out-braked himself, but I haven't seen him knock a brake yet. He really is driving exceptionally out there.
These two cars are locked nose to tail at the moment. Ooh, Patel very deep into the first chicane. He's lost a few car lengths there, but before that they were completely locked together. Just incredible drive, especially for Patel, who could almost not see anything out front. He still was making hardly any mistakes, and perhaps he's dropping back now just to regain his composure before making another attack. That would be a clever thing to do. Meanwhile, for 9th position, Ostakovic is having to defend quite hard against Druvlar. Peter Druvlar, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that one right. But that's an exciting battle that could be shaping up. Definitely a fantastic drive so far from Peter. And Patel is trying for the outside of Starkenberg again, but it looks like the same result as ever. Starkenberg manages to keep it, but Starkenberg is having to defend very hard into turn number 1. Patel going for the outside then. And Starkenberg breaks later and keeps the position. Fantastic.
I actually don't know how he's holding on this much here. Patel's got a much better drive out of the first corner, a bit of a wiggly exit, but Van Starkenberg really is driving now. Like, we saw, as we said earlier in warm-up, that you will see another side to the drivers, and we're definitely seeing that now. Both these drivers are in almost like another mindset. They're purely focused. Oh, I want another Patel wide! And that's a big block up there, and that's going to cost him and his tyres. And I think Van Starkenberg will have a cheeky grin on his face now then, as he tries to just extend that gap a bit. He needs to try and keep that gap and maintain it, but Patel's going to have none of it and maybe push even harder.
Starkenberg, what a fantastic defence, but Patel, that just proves how hard he's pushing. It knocks up those tyres and just about saved it from a spin, because that was very, very close to having that car sideways. Oh, great driving from Patel as well. And look at that, he's actually closed up back to him straight away. He's right back on it.
Patel really pushing crazy then down the straight. He's not going to be able to get a move this time, but perhaps someone, if he can just thread the car through the chicane close enough and get a better exit. He hasn't done so this lap though. It's going to be another lap behind.
In the background, Osmakovic having to defend a little bit against Peter Drivlar. It seemed he was taking little looks down the back straight, perhaps trying to show him he's there, get him a bit nervous, perhaps forcing him to mistake.
Yeah, and they both got a bit wiggly on exit there. You can see these tyres compared to the last ones really are starting to maybe wear a bit high, or maybe the attrition rate of the tyres starting to grow a bit, because these drivers really are starting to lose the car a bit now, and the feel is starting to slip away. But either way, it's making for some great racing, as you see. That's Peter Lula still trying to attack. I mean, Luka Slakovic as well had a pretty poor qualifying session, but has got himself into the top 10 safely, and it's in front of Peter Duvlar, who again had a very unfortunate qualifying session and finds himself in the top 10. So he really needs a good result today to keep his championship hopes alive. As you said, he missed China, so he really needs a strong result here today.
Yeah, definitely. How do you say it? Duvlar?
Duvlar, yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. He's got championship hopes. He's second at the moment, and even after missing one race, so there's still plenty of time to go. We're not even halfway yet in this race. There's definitely lots of time to make up some positions and get some good points, but definitely qualifying set him back a lot.
Jordan Serrano's actually dropped way through the field. We saw him up in 13th, so I'm not sure if he's got a problem, but he's actually under pressure from his teammate Marcus Hoffman, who now is no, not Marcus Hoffman, I beg your pardon, Andre Hoffman, his brother. So Hoffman trying to overtake his teammate carefully. Serrano's pretty much defenseless as they go into the hairpin.
Meanwhile, watching up front, Jeffrey Rietveld had a big moment in the first chicane, really hitting those curbs very hard and getting two wheels that almost look like off the ground, and he's lost a lot of time actually. He's caps down to about 1.5 seconds from 2.2, so he's lost almost 7/10 of a second. Perhaps Keithley saw that and he's thinking, right, let's have him. Close the gap right up.
Yep. Another battle forming, we saw this earlier as well, Musculi and Pushka. We saw these two go in tooth and nail earlier as well. I think they'll definitely be in the entries for Battle of the Day, but one hitter right now has got to beat Starkenberg and Mohamed Patel, but we'll have to see as the race goes on. As you said, not even halfway through yet. There's still plenty of time to go, and it seems like an eternity for some of these drivers. They really are fighting for the drive of their lives right now, and if this is a way to almost proving grounds for the World Championship, some of these drivers are going the right way about it, has to be said.
Yeah, I mean, they're all trying to show off. That's why they try to make every overtake impressive, but also showing they've got maturity and they're not just crazy banzai drivers that just dive for every opportunity they see. They've got to show that they can bring the car home as well. So really, it shows off all skill sets, this World Series, and definitely a lot of people watching and just taking notes. So that's taking notes of who are the good drivers here and who are the really excellent drivers here. Certainly we've seen some excellent driving today.
Yeah, Mohamed Patel did actually close the gap into turn 1, but loses time through the middle sector, and I think Van Starkenberg has to make a note of this and try to improve his lap time. What is interesting there is that Jack Keithley has got that gap down to Jeffrey Rietveld to 1.4 seconds. So that's slowly coming now. You can see Keithley in the background as they come down the home straight, and he's really starting to gain on that. It's up to 1.596. still a second quicker than it was just a few laps ago.
And that definitely shows the difference in setting up the car, maybe, because on that last lap, Van Starkenberg was 4/10 slower than Patel in the second sector.
Patel, just thinking of that, sorry, as Patel looks for a manoeuvre. Starkenberg once again pushed him off the track almost there. Very aggressive. Patel's got the inside line. He finally forces his way through. Can he get it done? Van Starkenberg looks for the cutback. He's done it, and Patel. Oh, and Van Starkenberg got a bit loose. But Patel will be breathing a huge sigh of relief now. That was a daring manoeuvre Starkenberg gave it all he had, but it just wasn't enough. That twister car just had enough momentum, and Van Starkenberg needs to try and keep on the rear end of Mohamed Patel if he wants to keep that hope of gaining the position alive.
Yeah, ooh, look how hard he's driving onto this long back straight. Wow, really incredible pass from Patel after getting passed, repassed, passing again. I've got to say, I don't think this battle's over yet.
Another battle which certainly isn't over. Pushka and Masculi have now added another friend to their battle in terms of Ivan Kalami's, of course, a very competitive GT Mega driver, and 3 different teams, 3 different drivers, 3 different nationalities as well, so all competing now to try, and of course you score points just for finishing, so every position counts here in the World Series today as they go into Casino Hairpin. Who's going to get the best drive? It looks like Masculi's got a good run on Pushka as they come down the back stretch. Let's see what Pushka can do as he goes a bit over the grass. Masculi almost followed to just try and keep in the line. It's not going to be enough this time, but I'm sure this battle's only going to get more heated as the race goes on.
Yeah, I mean, you just have one wheel on the grass there, kicking up all sorts of dust, and Masculi is right on the back of him now, and Pushka's having to defend, perhaps into turn 1. Will he make a dive for it? Not quite.
Oh, he's gone wide, and through goes almost Kalami's, and somehow Masculi managed to get the car back into shape and shut the door on Ivan Kalami's. So, wow, that was good defending there by Masculi, good instinct.
But very wide, definitely, and slammed the door shut. I mean, not sure how Kalami's will feel about that. Probably not too happy, but he locks up again there into the chicane. So Kalami's will be eyeing him up as a good opportunity for an overtake, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Pushka can do then. He's got to hold off 2 very aggressive drivers. And back towards the Mohamed Patel battle. He's pulling away there from Rob Van Starkenberg. Unfortunately, I think Rob Van Starkenberg did very well to hold on for as long as he did. That was an incredible defensive effort there on his half. We'll see what happens towards the second pit stop window.
Looks like Van Starkenberg actually just missed the World Champions there on the exit. So he's still pushing hard, but I think he might have pushed so hard trying to defend the position that he just wore up his tyres a little bit too much, perhaps.
Oh, we got retirement. Martin Gosby's out of the race. He was well up there in the points. Let's see what happened here somehow. I'll try and find a replay. So we've unfortunately lost Gosby. We saw him into the top 10 looking very competitive. And unfortunately, race over for him. I'll try and find what happened there for you.
He was looking very good actually. Just setting a nice pace on his own. So really quite puzzled by what might have happened there. But meanwhile, up the front, Keithley has got the gap down to around a second of with Jeffrey Rietveld. He's really closed the gap. It's just a second now as we cross the line. Let's see the time difference is. It's 1.278. So Keithley really going for it. And showing he's definitely not out of this race yet by any means.
Absolutely, it's come down, as you said, just 1.2 seconds. It was 2 seconds around 10 laps ago, and Rietveld's going to slowly start to see this green blur of the Precision Motorsports car being piloted, of course, by the Englishman Jack Keithley, and he's desperate to show himself. Of course, he knows what it's like to drive in a top tier here in Formula Sim racing. He knows what it's like to win races in the lower tiers, so very experienced driver, and I think Rietveld may have his work cut out, but of course these two, both very competitive, both won races, and Rietveld of course won a championship, so Rietveld would love to make the dream return to the World Series and win a race, but to do that he's going to have to fend off a very feisty looking Jack Keithley.
Yeah, and Jack Keithley certainly leading the championship with no wins yet. Can't feel brilliant because to silence the criticism, he'll be loving the chance to get a win, and especially after that fantastic start he made. Certainly he's looking for one. That Keithley into the pits there. Yes, it was. Keithley's in pits.
This is going to be interesting, and Keithley feels it's the time to stop.
Milwaukee also in the pits in first position. That seems about right actually. They've stretched out this one around the same amount of time as they did the first stint, so let's see where he comes out whether they have any traffic this time like it's the first time. Nope, he has a nice clear track in front of him, so that definitely looks much better. Let's take a look at Milwaukee, how he did coming out the pits.
Oh, he's actually just in front of the Starkenberg and Patel battles. I mean, this will be interesting, of course, when to see those two pit in. I mean, there's a 2-second gap between them now. Patel really still going pedal to the metal, actually pulled away then from Rob van Starkenberg. But if Starkenberg can get another good pit stop, then I'm sure it'll be a very interesting thing to watch. But I don't think it'll be anything as interesting as that first pit stop. That was crazy between them.
Yeah, they probably won't be going in side by side this time unless we see a terrible mistake from Patel. But certainly, if Starkenberg can get the jump on him, or perhaps he can stay out an extra few laps and jump in that way, or at least make up some time that way, and have some fresher tyres, of course, for the next stint.
Absolutely, of course. The second stint is key right in the middle of the race, sets up your third and final stint. How hard do you need to push? Are you in clean air? That sort of thing. So it's all going to become very clear to some of these drivers what they need to do to get a good result here.
And Calaby's right on the back of Pushka now for 13th position, and this looks like this could be an interesting battle coming down into the final chicane. Looks like he's got a good slipstream. And indeed, Calaby's looks to the inside of Pushka, and he looks like he's side by side, and Pushka goes into the pit then, so he bails out on that one.
And he's just in behind Masculi as well. Duvlar also in there. So these two drivers were hot in contention earlier. Duvlar leaves the pits, as does Rob van Starkenberg, I believe. So Masculi in, Philip Pushka in, these two guys were battling. It's all going to come down to this, who's quicker in the pits. Pushka already away, Masculi, oh, it was close, but wasn't close enough unfortunately, as they leave the field.
Yeah, good pit stop then from all those guys really. It seems pretty good consistency from the teams here and their pit stops, apart from that awful pit stop for
Jeffrey Rietveld's in the pits. Sorry to interrupt you there, your race leader is in the pits at the moment. Where's Jack Keithley? He's got a clean track, that's exactly what he wanted. Keithley onto the back stretch now then, needs to push, we know he was gaining. Rietveld leaves his pit box, onto the track he comes, Keithley speeds it down, he may just have it still. Keithley goes around turn 1, and he's got the job done. Good pit stop there by Rietveld, really rescued that. The gap was 2.9 seconds as Keithley crossed the line, so Rietveld did a great job there to somehow hold that gap and even increase it back to 3 seconds, and that's a real heartbreak for Jack Keithley.
Yeah, perhaps the cold tyres for Keithley was what really cost him that time. Because, you know, obviously if you stay out 2-3 laps more, then you're likely to jump them. Stay out just 1 lap more, and perhaps it's more likely to hurt you than to help you. Perhaps Keithley can push now. You know, the gap is still within 3 seconds, and perhaps he can push and make up some time again. All getting very, very close to the exit there of the second chicane.
Yep, so second round of pit stops coming to a close. Question is, who's going to be 3-stopping and who's just going to be going for a really long second stint? I mean, you're going to see these guys, some of them carrying heavier fuel loads, and that'll be interesting to see if they're in battle before as well. This is going to get very interesting and make a great final stint. So it's already been a very fantastic Grand Prix, and this one once again providing just what, you know, we need from a Montreal Grand Prix. It's provided everything what a race fan wants to see, and even a bit more.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, these guys who have just stopped, they've been very hard pushed to try and make it the rest of the way from here.
Jeffrey Rietveld's had to have a stop and go, I think. Rietveld's leaving the pit lane now.
What? Any idea what for?
Maybe it was being in the pit lane, but he has actually came up behind Jack Keithley. He dipped into the pits a while ago and comes out still in second place, but he's 3.8 seconds away from Keithley. Maybe that's a bit of karma, who knows? But Rietveld, I think, got a drive-through penalty for possibly speeding in the pit lane.
Speeding in the pit lane, that is absolutely unprecedented, and he's going to be mad now. He's going to be kicking himself for an error like that, and really wanted to close back up to Jack Keithley, and we're going to have a real race on our hands now for sure, because he appeared to be the slightly faster car. You know, he pulled out that 3 second gap, over those in-laps and out-laps, and now we're going to see a real battle for the race win today in Montreal for sure.
Absolutely, I mean, lucky no one else has made that mistake, but that's a very unfortunate error there by Jeffrey Rietveld, and unfortunately that has cost him what was a very looking good race lead. He got the job done through the second pit stop window as well, managed to hold on and do a great job and even increase the lead, but now he's got Milwaukee lingering in the background just a couple of seconds away, and things are taking a turn for the worse for the defending champion.
Well, perhaps that could explain how he made that gap out there. It was quite incredible because the gap was a second before the pit stops, and it was only a 1 lap separated, and it was around 3 seconds. So perhaps that speed in the pit lane was how he actually got that gap up. But certainly very unfortunate error from him, really kicking himself and wanting to rectify it, getting the lead back. And we should see a really interesting race now.
We got another battle on the cards as well. Rob van Starkenberg once again finding himself in the thick of the action. This time behind Luka Oslakovic, who once again he really has been the unsung hero. He not really inside the top 5, much a lot, but he's up to P7 at the moment, and he's doing a fantastic job for the Emirates Racing team. He's being stalked down though by Dimitri de Matos, Rob van Starkenberg, and Peter Duvlar, all in close competition with each other. So this is going to get very heated. Albon Desley 4 seconds away. Will be joining that pretty soon if this train continues.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes one slow car up front to bunch them all up. I mean, if Patel runs some trouble, then Oslakovic, Matos and Starkenberg will all join the back, and Duvlar will also join that battle, and they'll all be wanting positions. And when they're so close to you, when you can see 3 positions right in front of you, it just makes you push that little bit harder.
Question is, who's going to flip over to the other side, which not many of us can relate to, unless you're sim racers, which just makes you completely drive more and want every ounce of energy out of that car. And well, the gap's coming down at the moment, 2.6. Jeffrey Rietveld, I think, may have touched into that mindset, because he needs to drive like a madman now to try and get this lead back under control. We are just over halfway in the race though, lap 40 out of 70 to 30 to go, and Rietveld needs to try and get something going right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be really mad at himself for making that error. Looks like there's something on the track there, so I wonder who dropped that. But he's going to be really mad at himself for making that error for sure, and he's going to want that lead back, and he'll be pushing so hard to get it. That's for absolute certain. Looks like we've got some lap traffic up ahead for Jack Keithley, our race leader. We've got 3 cars most in close proximity with each other. Like it's Hernandez, Bracan and Jans. Sorry, pronunciation issues there.
Vertmuller actually think it's out of the race. I'll quickly try and get an update on that just to confirm it. Yes, Vertmuller also out of the race. So again, it was looking kind of strong there, but Albon Desley at the moment in front of his teammate Ivan Kalami's at 11th and 12th, just sitting outside the top 10. But to try and get in there, we've got a great battle, of course, up to 7th place. Oslakovic, de Matos, Van Starkenberg, and Peter Duvlar, who's actually gaining on Van Starkenberg. So once again, Rob Van Starkenberg defending skills are being put to the test as Peter Duvlar, who of course is a very worthy title contender, as we were discussing earlier, looks to try and force a way through.
And Starkenberg, he's just been defending all race, hasn't he? It's been a real defensive driver there. On one hand, that's brilliant because he can showcase his defensive skills, and on the other hand, why isn't he moving forward? It's perhaps his race pace is quite a bit different to his qualifying pace that he showed, and that's a real shame. But that's back up. So you've got de Matos in front of him. He knows all about following a Twister racing car, all about defending a Twister racing car.
Bit of inside info for you. I mean, this will explain why that gap's coming down between Rietveld and Keithley. Rietveld was driving the entire first part of the race with an engine boost of 6, which is around mid, kind of RPM range, and now he's driving straight in number 1, which is the highest RPM range to the car. So whilst this is going to be pushing the engine to the limits and not healthy for the car, that gap will start to come down. It's down to 2.3. It was 2.7 just a couple of laps ago. So Rietveld really taking it to the next level to try and win this thing.
Duvlar just looking at the inside of Van Starkenberg and not quite making it, but as you were saying, yeah, that's one of the advantages of running in the lead, because you could just hold back, save your stuff, save your car, and then when you need it, because you get a driving penalty, then when you need it, then you can attack again, and that's an advantage of Rietveld, where Rietveld has been running in the lead, and now he's certainly hoping to use the car and any engine he's saved, any tyres he's managed to save, and he's certainly hoping to make an impression into Jack Keithley's lead. And they're right in lap traffic at the moment as well, so that could play a part in it as well.
Right, and Rietveld to go back down to boost 6, I beg your pardon. So he's just gone for that, and that's actually gave him just going to boost 1 for 1 lap, 1.5 seconds away from Jack Keithley to actually gain that time. It's down to 1.9 seconds now, so Rietveld navigates his way through traffic of his teammate coming out the pits. But
Nearly half a second.
Rietveld's managed to actually get that time right down, and maybe Jack Keithley's going to realise that, maybe turn down his engine boost as well, but maybe Rietveld's going to need to use it again. However, the only downside is it's not healthy for the engine. There's Anthony Jans, he's trying to hold off Brackham there. This is for P17. This is Jeffrey Rietveld's teammate for AT Racing. Let's see what Bracken can do. They're going towards the second sector. Bracken looks to the inside, can't quite get it done. Of course, Bracken is Rob Van Starkenberg's teammate, so let's see if he can perhaps mirror some of his driving style as they go in towards the casino hairpin. Can't quite get it done there though. However, that battle there between, I mean, this has got really, really tense. I mean, the gap now between Aslakovic and Duvlar, who's in 10th, is just over a second. So 4 cars running in less than a second of each other. Literally snaking around this circuit. He's just got in the background. That's, I believe...
Who was Aslakovic right off?
Aslakovic manages to decide, oh, that's very dangerous there. Almost cuts off Peter Duvlar, who tries to force a way through. Aslakovic goes wide, cuts across. Surely there's going to be no fight there from Aslakovic. Very unfortunate there, but he's still trying to hang on. Oh, he's spun! He's spun off Peter Duvlar! That's carnage, he can't do that! And I'm sure Duvlar's going to be up in arms. Very silly move there, I think, by Luka Aslakovic. And Peter Duvlar spearing into the barrier, losing his front wing. Luckily it was near the pit lane, and he'll just literally dive into the pit lane now, but oh, he's going to be so upset.
Duvlar is going to be furious with Aslakovic, especially since Aslakovic could continue on because he doesn't appear to have that much damage. But absolutely crazy driving from Aslakovic. First of all, going straight across at the second chicane and just rejoining the track without giving way. He just continues straight on, and then that crazy chop and a massive crash, and that's certainly very, very unfortunate for Peter Duvlar there.
For Luka Aslakovic, which he will probably come to regret after the race, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of controversy surrounding that. He doesn't seem to have taken damage to his car, and Duvlar came worse off, and I'm sure Duvlar won't be very happy. That gap between Rietveld and Keithley's gone back up to, well, 1.2929, I beg your pardon, so it's gone reasonably stayed the same as Aston on a position. That would be Peter Duvlar coming out of pit lane, Keithley's teammate. Gonna have to try and get this. Is interesting indeed, actually. How long is Duvlar gonna hold Rietveld up? You know that's his teammate. Look, he's not giving way at all to Jeffrey Rietveld. That's very sneaky tactics there by the Precision Motorsports driver. He still tries to cling on. He just tried to buy his teammate a bit of time there. Well, you can't blame him for it.
Yeah, and also he's going to be so mad about that incident that he's not really going to be recognising that they're the leaders and we've got to let them pass. He's going to be seeing red at the moment because I mean, there's nothing he could have done there. First of all, he rejoined the track, and then that chop. I mean, he's really going to be pretty mad.
He's got every reason to be, you know. I mean, I think that was a bit of a sneaky team tactic there by Precision to just hold up Rietveld a bit, and that's cost him over half a second doing that. So,
wow, that's a lot of time, definitely, and that just shows how these lap traffic can really influence the outcome of a race. I mean, you saw the ultimate manifestation of that in the World Trophy race earlier, but certainly these lap cars, even if they don't crash you out, can still influence the outcome of a race quite significantly.
So this race really is shaping up to be a classic. I mean, we've still got quite a way to go. Only on lap 46 out of 70, and it's far, far from over yet. Plenty of decisions still left to be decided. One of them, of course, was the Luka Aslakovic battle, which has promoted Mohamed Patel into 6th, D'Amatos 7th, who's got past Rob Van Starkenberg, Albin Desi into 9th now. Ivan Kalamis is 10th, Philip Pushka down to 11th as of now. But oh, that's another car. That's Luka Sakovic again, finding the wall there, managing to save it, but very weak moment there for Slakovic. Needs to try and maintain composure. The thing is, after an incident like that, it's got to be playing on your mind the entire race, and you can't let it damage your mentality.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he probably didn't do it on purpose. He was just trying to get everything he's got. You know, he's a racing driver. That's what you do. But certainly he'll probably be feeling apologetic almost, as if he wants to say sorry for that incident. He's got to cast it from his mind, because it's possible that they could get a penalty, even a time penalty maybe, and he'll need to overcome that, or just to advance his position. He needs to stay in the right frame of mind and not dwell too much on that incident.
Absolutely. So let's just take a look at this is another battle going on. This is Peter Dublar having to try and Edward Malorki is going to pass to Hernandez and Bracken. This is for P17. Hernandez is trying to pull away in the faster than speed car. Bracken, we saw a bit of action earlier as well.
Yeah, Malorki's had a... Sorry.
Oh, sorry, just behind him is Anthony Jans. This is another three-way battle there. They're in some traffic there. I mean, Stefan Royal to navigate his way through again. He's been quiet. He's in fourth position at the moment. So, fourth and third, we call them team consistency. Malorki and Sprual, even though they've switched around, still third and fourth, and that'll be a very happy team boss. Yeah,
Malorki has been so quiet all race. He's not really been close to anybody battling. He's not been managing to make any inroads on Rietveld's gap, but he's managed to keep a constant gap to his teammate as well. So really a great podium race from him so far. Let's see if he can keep it. Of course, you've got to manage brakes hard at this track, because brakes can really fail at the end of races, you often see, and you've got to manage the engine and tyres and everything. So it's not over till it's over for sure. But so far, a fantastic drive from him.
Yeah, Anthony Yan, P18, trying to latch on to the batters. You see Jordi Suarez, P19, a bit far away. But Jans is 18th, trying to catch Bracken and Hernandez, who are separated a bit now, but still fairly close together considering. Philip Pushka up to P11, he'd love a top 10 finish today to do that. He's got to get past one of the GTA Megas of either Kalamis. And the gap down to 2.1, so Rietveld is slowly reeling him back in. But I think Rietveld will be slightly annoyed, not only well, definitely Jack Keithley's teammate, really. I think that was definitely some team tactics there by Precision. But it's all legal at the end of the day, It's not like that. I mean, obviously he moved out of the way in the end, which is what counted. He didn't have to do it immediately, and in turn it's helped his teammate. Yeah,
but team tactics as well as just him being so mad. That's what he probably wasn't in the right frame of mind to give him way to any cars after that. He'd be completely furious about what happened, and that's perfectly understandable, and also perfectly understandable to want to help your teammate in any way possible.
Absolutely, a position kind of took that to the next level there. Rietveld still, let's see what the gap is once he crosses the line. Down to 2.028, so he's slowly once again, as we said, reeling him in now. And it's really going to make for an exciting closure to the race. It's not over till the checkered flag falls here in FSR. We've said that race after race after race, and for very good reason. I'm sure we're going to see another fine example of that today, as Dimitri de Matos is slowly trying to lose time to Rob van Starkenberg now. So watch out as it progresses, and just behind him you've got Olman Desley trying to follow Fred Gosling, who's trying to force his way past Jordi Sorales. So this is for P19 and P20. Sorales pits in, so that's the end of that battle.
Certainly another, perhaps, a little bit of a motivation for holding up Rietveld a bit is Jack Keithley, of course, at the top of the championship standards. He's probably thinking about that as well, because he'll be thinking about the championship, because even though he's way back there in 15th, or Duvlar, he's still thinking about that because he's had basically 2 races out now, with only 10 points for this race if he stays there, and no points in China since he didn't start. So it's a long season, and he's still got a chance to get back in this, second in the championship for this race. So he's definitely thinking about that as well, and especially after that incident, losing those vital points.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, we're going to be approaching, if there are third stops, it will now be within the next couple of laps or so, I'm sure. Some of these drivers, De Matos as well in 7th. I mean, a lot of these, let's just take a look at the teams in the top 10. Keithley, the sole Precision driver at the moment due to Duvlar and Slakovic colliding earlier. You got Jeffrey Rietveld for AT Racing, again, like Jack Keithley, the sole member of the team. the two Obuttos, who have, well, really given a dream performance so far. ATR management car and Vecchioni doing a fantastic job. The two Twisters of Patel and D'Amatos again Twisted doing a very consistent job. Rob van Starkenberg and Netrex in 8th. And then the two GT Omegas in 9th and 10th. So, three sets of teams there, all paired up together, running very consistent jobs. And that just shows how, you know, the teams will work together. Both drivers will be very evenly paced between them. And they're going to bring home some hefty haul of points, considering they finish where they are now.
Yeah, and that's certainly the key for the team standings, which are also pretty close at the moment. You know, Precision, well, they'll be very happy with Keithley at this current point. They can't be too happy with Dubla. And Abuttu, like you say, are really the guys that have come out on tops in the team at the moment. And definitely, when they were battling at the start of the race, they could have taken each other off. They could have forced the issue. They didn't. They raced intelligently, and that means they're, at the moment, having a very good haul of points in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, we'll see what the positions are like when they finish the race, but right now it's looking pretty good for the teams out there. I mean, this is really what a team also wants to see, especially you look at Twister, GT Omega, haven't had the easiest of races. Patel and D'Amatos, of course, both qualified outside the top 10. So to get them both into the top half of the field and in 6th and 7th, it's a great job by both of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the team championship, well, Precision have a pretty big lead up the front. It's very close down from 2nd down to around 6th place. The Buttu, Twister, GT Omega, Ghost Speed, ATR all very close together. And Abutto, of course, in 2nd place. They'll be wanting to perhaps turn their season around and make a fight for the win in the team standings.
Yeah, Rietveld is fuel setting back up to boost 1. He's got the gap down to 1.7 seconds at the moment. So once again, flying, trying to bring something extra out of that car. 1.6 now. So Rietveld needs to try and find something extra and dig deep, and he's doing that at the moment. But look at Malorki, he's not too far away, just 8 seconds. So he's not out of it yet, especially if the two leaders perhaps come together. Malorki will quite happily add another victory to his list. Yeah,
Malorki's just staying back there, 10 seconds behind. He's not pushing his car too hard, probably, because really there's no need to. And if any one of those leaders has a problem, perhaps they're pushing so hard trying to beat each other, they're going to wear out their brakes, you know. But certainly you see attrition at the end of this race will be a key factor.
Now, what is interesting as well is that Albin Desley is actually slipping now to Ivan Kalami's. The gap between them is just under a second, so perhaps Kalami's just trying to pass this as teammate when they're obviously quite close together. But will Desley move out the way, or will he defend position? Of course, their teammates, as you said earlier, you don't want to make the worst mistake in sim racing, which is to take out your teammate, especially as they on as well. And they're only 2 seconds away from Rob van Starkenberg.
And our leader, Keithley, is into the pits. And almost at the final pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully if there's no damage or anything like that, Ivanov also in there as well, just in front of Jack Keithley, who gets away. But now Jeffrey Rietveld has to push. This will be the fastest laps he's driven this race so far. He needs to take it up a notch once again to go to that place in the mind where not many of us can kind of, you know, compensate with almost. As Rietveld needs to actually have to push so hard now to make up time. He got the gap down to 1.7. He needs to go further. He needs to take it beyond that. Drive into that extra couple miles an hour into the corner. Brake later by a couple of meters. You know, it has to be top-notch stuff now from last year's champion. He needs to prove why he was a champion, and can he come back and win a race is yet to be seen.
Jeffrey Rietveld leads the laps of his life right now. He was about 1.8 behind, 1.6 for the pit stops, so he needs probably to stay out more than a lap, really. Although, of course, he'll come out on the cold tyres, and perhaps he could jump in that way. So let's see if he pits this time down the long back straight when he shoots off into the pits. Yes, he does.
But this is going to get extremely interesting then. Let's take a look at where Jack Keithley is. He's found some traffic though, once his teammates, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But coming down the straight, maybe even able to get a bit of a slipstream on Peter Duflo. Once again, very convenient. Where is Jeffrey Rietveld? He's still in the pit lane at the moment. He's down off the jacks. Rietveld's still in the pits. Keithley goes through. Rietveld stopped there actually. He's in there for quite. He's leaving now, and he's lost a lot of time.
That's a shame, you know, that perhaps sealed the deal on Keithley's win. And we don't want to speak too soon, but now a 5-second lead for Keithley. And Rietveld after that speeding penalty earlier, and now a long pit stop results in 5-second gap between them. There's still chance, there's still around 17 laps left, there's still a possibility if we help get back in this race, but certainly, I mean, now he's got to worry more about Milwaukee perhaps in net third place, because that's going to be very interesting. I mean, to see if Milwaukee can now, after going pretty slowly in the race, to see whether he can now turn up the wick, and Rietveld sliding into the hairpin.
I think he's just trying to take it a bit too far now, as we said. I mean, the problem is if you go to extra gear, you push a little bit too hard, you can potentially wreck your race. And I think now for Rietveld, he's 4.8 seconds away. He needs to try and drive home and finish second. It's still a very respectable result considering the circumstances, but obviously it could have been so different. But that's just sim racing for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, that mistake in pit lane, which resulted in a drive-through penalty, was really what cost him. That's definitely the key moment of this race. But also the start from Jack Keithley was fantastic third on the grid. That's another key moment in getting his win.
Yeah, I think the thing is as well, we've spoken very much of Jeffrey Rietveld and how he's done exceptionally well and things, but we haven't really spoken about Jack Keithley and how well he's done, as you said, to come from third on the grid to take the lead of the race, effectively lead the first stint, unfortunately lose out due to, of course, Jeffrey Rietveld coming through, and then still manage to hold it throughout all the pressure, throughout all the controversy going on throughout the field, just drive his own race, drive very solidly, and that's the Jack Keithley that we've grown to know across Formula Sim racing. Just drives his own race. He's very quiet, as we said, he doesn't find himself in much action, but he gets the job done.
Yeah, a really consistent drive so far from him. As we saw earlier, it's not over until it's over. So that's certainly not count any win yet, but really consistent. And he must have been really upset with coming out behind those battling cars of Patel and Van Starkenberg, and that really is what cost him the lead for the second stint. But now, back on it, he's back in the lead after the unfortunate penalty for Rietveld, so both of them have had problems in this race. But at the moment it's Keithley out on top.
I think you got to feel sorry for Peter Duflar as well. He's a lap down, he's P14, and again that could have been so much more, but of course a collision with Luka Oslaka which cost him dearly, and he's now down. You can see his teammate in the distance, and that's going to hurt him, knowing his teammates out there leading the race and he's at his 14th, effectively can't score any high points really, and it's not going to be the highest morale in the team for him.
Yeah, and even worse when you come into the race second in the championship standings behind your teammate, and then he wins the race and you finish out of the major points. That's awful thing for the morale, but certainly plenty of races left, plenty of time to turn it back around and make a championship attack.
Ivan Kalami's rejoins the track right behind Rob Van Starkenberg. Looks to the outside, that's a very risky move. This is a P8 then. This is going to be one of the closing battles I can imagine. Rob Van Starkenberg, once again, his defensive skills have been worked thoroughly hard today. I've never seen a defender have to defend so hard. He gets finally and gets rid of one car, or Patel past him. He's immediately passed on to another target. It's literally like an intense training session for his defending right now, and I think he's going to be passing the flying colours. Yeah,
he's certainly done some fantastic defence so far. Really good at placing his car exactly where it needs to be in order to stop the other car from having any chance to pass him, especially down this long back straight. I feel we'll get another chance to see here. We'll see where he places his car after this little kink. Right on the white line. Look at that, he's not moving, he's
trying to
into
go
the
around
outside.
the outside. Rob Van Starkenberg still has the inside line. Remember, if he can break a bit later, Kalamis has the position. And I think Rob Van Starkenberg just didn't have the fight in there. GT Mega was evidently faster, and Van Starkenberg, no matter how hard he tried to cut him off, that would end up in some sort of collision. So,
yeah, fantastic outbraking manoeuvre from Kalamis. He wasn't all the way past him. He's used his brakes very effectively, and perhaps Van Starkenberg, the defending all race, has actually used up his brakes a bit more than Kalamis, and that's what meant he had to brake so much earlier. But really, a great pass from Kalamis that can't take away anything from.
Oh, Jeffrey Rietveld a bit wiggly there on the exit of the final corner. He's 4 seconds away from Jack Keithley, And that's well, actually, does that come down, or is that's got to be a lap car? That's got to be Peter Duvlar. I'm sure there'll be a bit of bitter blood between these two if that is, as Duvlar looks to move out of the way. And I'm sure that during the forums there will be a bit of a heated discussion between those two, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, can't be too happy with what happened there too.
Eros Misculi's trying to interrupt, trying to push on against Luka Oslakovic, who's down to 12th now. But Misculi wants to try and get as high up the field as he can for ATR management and see what he can do. And just trying to get some clean air into the engine, dips back into the slipstream as they go through the chicane. And again, surprisingly, what I was talking about earlier in terms of the attrition rate, we've only had 6 retirements out of 26 cars. That's exceptional as Misculi goes for an exceptional manoeuvre and he can't quite get it done. And almost outbroke himself there. But good defending by Oslakovic. But yeah, 6 cars out of 26 retiring from the race. That's exceptional compared to what we've seen in the past here.
Yeah, definitely. And Oslakovic was almost incredible. He didn't actually get any damage from that crash. I mean, he just managed to drive on, and now, as we can see, defending very hard against Misculi, and Misculi knocking up a brake behind him. He's right on the back of him now. Oslakovic is going to have to defend hard and hopefully fairly.
Let's see what happens. Dennis Misculi's all over the back. His mirrors will be filled with a red and white ATR car, just trying to wiggle round, get some sort of slipstream going as they come in towards Casino Hairpin.
All about getting the drive off this corner.
Tries to cut back, he's got the draft nearly, got a great exit. Oslakovic does get away a bit quicker, but let's see what Eros Misculi can do. Then he's got a great chance to slipstream. Surely Oslakovic will be defenders, he's still trying to hold on, almost pushing to the side, bit of wheel contact there almost, as Misculi still tries to fight for as much as the inside line as he can, but he gets the job done anyway. Good move there by the ATR driver.
Yeah, he just had the better straight line speed in the end, didn't he, and he managed to clear him just about before the braking zone.
Oslakovic trying to come back at him, doesn't have enough room, at the wrong line. Misculi goes a bit deep. Can Oslakovic try and force one up the inside? Not quite. So yeah, job done there by the Italian.
Yeah, I mean, Oslakovic very aggressive, but not quite managing to do it back in the turn. There's not really that much space if you can just place your car nicely, but the great thing about the final chicane is you can pass on the outside and on the inside, so that's one of the great things about that passing zone.
You see Oslakovic still trying to find a way back into the slipstream of Misculi, but he can't quite get it done at the moment. Philip Pushka there in the distance, lingering. We'll see what position he is at there, and he's just in front, so if Pushka's not careful, you've got Orban Desley. There could be another train forming there. Desley's 10th, Pushka 11th, Misculi 12th, and Oslakovic now 13th.
And Oslakovic is right on the back of Misculi into the hairpin, locking up, and he's going to try and take the position back, surely. I'm not sure if he's got the straight line speed to do it, as we just saw.
Trying to get in the slipstream, he's maybe going to look for the inside, he goes down the outside, and he's almost backed off there. I think he thought much better of that. Too late in the race to make him move down. I think it was last season actually, it was Oslakovic involved in a crash on the final lap on that chicane, and I'm sure he wouldn't want to repeat that.
No, that's really gutting if you race the whole race and manage to get a reasonable position and then lose it all in the final lap. So certainly that's not what he wants. And only 10 or so laps to go now. They've got to stay careful. They've got to nurture their cars at the end. But at the same time, you still want to get everything you can. If there's a place going, then you'll want to get it.
Yeah, the gap at the front down to 4.1 seconds. Rietveld is pushing, but I can't see him getting 4 seconds in the next 10 laps or so. It's going to be exceptional if you can, but catching is one thing, passing is another, and it's going to take a good 2 or 3 laps, I think, for Keith that position, because the last thing he's going to want to do is actually surrender that lead now after leading all this time. So if he does catch Keith, it'll be interesting to see how hard he defends.
Yeah, I mean, Rietveld, just the combination of that penalty and also that slow pit stop that's really cost him any chance at hounding him over these final laps. But perhaps he can turn up those that engine mode, perhaps he can find a few extra tenths of a second over these last 10 laps. I mean, he needs to catch at half a second a lap, and he wants to have a chance at really passing him. But you can really pressure someone into a mistake here. If you make a run at them, it's possible that they'll make a mistake in one of these pre-braking zones, so anything is possible still.
Yeah, coming into the closing stages now, though, it's already been a fantastic race, we've seen it all, and I'm sure it's far from over yet. Kalami's trying to catch Dimitri de Matos, They're 2 seconds apart. The Philip Pushka battle is starting to form. They're 3 seconds away from Musculi and Aslakovic as well, so that's going to get pretty heated if things start to unfold between them. 10 seconds away is Edwin Malorki from the leader. He's only 7 seconds away from Jeffrey Rietveld, so if Rietveld does push hard, which he's doing, he's taken 3/10 out of Jack Keithley, the gap down to 3.7 seconds. Well, 3.8 now as they go through the first sector, but of course if he does make a mistake, Malorki will be the first man to capitalise.
Yeah, they're pretty even through the first sector, but certainly Rietveld, as he's passed that lap car there, certainly he's pushing now. He's really turning up the wick and trying to make an impression into his lead. Perhaps Keithley will almost get nervous if that's probably Rietveld's hope. He can almost make Keithley nervous, forcing him into a mistake, because that's probably the only way he's going to get past with these cars so identical in speed. But certainly he's pushing pretty hard at the moment, and he looks like he's making an impression into his lead.
Yep, not long at all to go now then, just 8 laps until the checker flag will wave in Montreal. And I'm sure it's going to be plenty more action. We've got a lot of cars there. Within 10 seconds, 8th place, down to roughly P12, so 4 cars which all could really come into battle. If there was a mistake, I mean, Musculi's 2 seconds away from Pushka, who's 2 seconds away from Desley, who's 2 seconds away from Van Starkenberg, so very evenly matched at the moment, but the smallest mistake could create quite a train.
Yeah, absolutely, and one, especially at the end of this race, if somebody's brakes or tyres up to wear for the heavy toll of this final stint, and that's possible that will back the field up and create a real pack. And Rietveld's pushing so hard on the exit of these corners. He's really using all of the road and more, because those curves on the outside are pretty large. He's using it all, and even kicking up some dust, touches the grass as he pushes very hard to catch our lead, and the gap is down to 3.6, so the gap's still coming down.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, it's getting towards the end of the race now. It's all about who can manage their car the best, who's got enough fuel in the tank, who's got, you know, maybe some people fueled longer than others, who's got enough in the engine in terms of temperature, who's going to go for that extra bit of engine boost, who can manage their tyres, who's a faded. All of this is going to come key, and who's going to push towards the final stage of the race, perhaps to try and gain another position.
Yeah, and actually teammates Rout, who sat on the pole, of course, he's pushing pretty hard. He's only 4 seconds behind his teammate Malorki, so maybe there's a battle shake up there. He was 2 tenths faster on that last lap, so he watched Rout in these closing stages.
Yeah, and the gap coming down with Rietveld as well, that down to 3.195 now then, or 3.2 as they go through sector 1. But Rietveld needs to try and push and find again, something a little extra, and he almost lost it into the water. Big save. I mean, I'm sure he'd love a dream comeback to make a win, but he needs to try and somehow dig deep and find something more from that car. You can see how hard he's pushing it, literally drifting it round his Montreal circuit. There's literally fight from the car now. It's almost wrestling. There's no gliding, or he's just really pushing everything out of it. And it's just, he's like a rider trying to ride an untamed horse. And right now he just needs to try and find some time. The gap 3.4 through sector 2. What's it going to be when they cross the line?
They're virtually equal in sector times at the moment, matching each other all the way. Although actually Keithley was 2 tenths faster in sector 2 there, and but really Rietveld is pushing very hard. Perhaps that was that save that you talked about to slow him down. But he's really pushing hard. He's got to make sure though that he doesn't lose his brakes, doesn't push so hard that his brakes go and then he loses a good second position. So at the same time he's got to think about the big picture.
Yeah, absolutely, but of course down to the driver, and what's going through his mind right now? Surely he's only going to want to go for that race win. But oh, it's Albin Desley in the wall! Albin Desley, P11, yeah, P12 now is in the wall, and he's got it going, and that's a casino hairpin. Let's just watch replay that of what happened. So he's... Oh, it's a bit of a lag almost there. All we see is literally come out of the pits, and he's just in the wall. So, very unfortunate incident there for Albin Desley. Maybe it was a loss of steering or something. He's got the car going again. He's going to surely dive into pit road, but very unfortunate. GT Omega were looking very consistent earlier on in 8th and 9th place.
And brakes.
Oh, it was his brake failure, yeah.
on some of these cars, and I think that was what it was with Desley. Also hearing the brake on Albon is starting to go as well. So that
he's missed his pit box. Desley's missed his pit box. He's reversing now. Well, he's got it into his stop, but that's again very unfortunate there. Things went from bad to worse for GT Omega. He's finally got it there. That's not going to help his race at all. Bad to worse, down to 13th. Where's Peter Duvlar? He's coming down the home straight now. I'm sure he'd love to gain an extra position. Almost as a consolation prize if Peter Duvlar comes down the home straight. There's Desley in the pits, and it's another position for Peter Duvlar.
Definitely, that's a brake failure on Albon Desley. And what does that say for the rest of these cars? If that can happen so quickly.
Another battle here, as we were talking about earlier. How much these guys got left? Eris Musculi going round Philip Pushka. A great move there. Surely can make it stick. No hope from Philip Pushka unless he brakes extremely late. And he's got the job done just behind Lukas Lakovic. He would love another position to get himself. Well, that will be a top 11. Let's see what he can do then into turn 1. Has he got enough left in the tank? He's got the slipstream, goes to the inside, and Pushka immediately defends. I'm not sure Pushka wants to risk anything. Lukas Lakovic does. He's trying to really push that Emirates Racing round here.
Yeah, and they've got to be so careful because we saw how quickly Desley's brakes failed, and it can happen to them as well. And any small mistake can really cost you, and especially so late in the race, it'll be really gutted. So while they're trying really hard, got to be so careful with these brakes. Really are going to play a vital part, I think, in this last 4 laps.
Absolutely, Musculi pulling away from Zlakovic though. He's around a second and, well, 1.2 away at the moment. The gap between Rietveld and Jack Keithley is 2.3 seconds. So it's coming down slowly, but it's not going to be quick enough, I don't think. There's, well, roughly 3 laps to go. And has Rietveld got what it takes? He needs to try and still tap into that extra mode in the car. He needs that engine boost 1, but he's going to risk it all this late on in the race. The engines work a solid over 60 laps. It's a very big task for these cars to try and reach the end of the race as it is. They don't need the extra pressure, but it depends what you want to go for. And right now, all that's on Rietveld's mind, it seems, is a win.
At the moment, there's a pretty interesting battle going on between Calames and D'Amatos for 7th place. They're right on it, and of course D'Amatos is just off his Bristol Race teammate Patel, so this could be really interesting coming to the end, especially with such little brakes, so worn tyres. Really good seeing these two, and then right nose to tail at the moment for the second chicane and down towards the hairpin.
Kalami's just behind him as well. He's not too far away, so as we said earlier, it's happened with Raoul and Malorki. If you remember early on, an almost bit of a tap there by the GT Omega driver. But I mean, you got to think as well, though. I mean, this happened, as we said, with Stefan Rual earlier. If you do start to hold up your teammate, maybe, or don't want to let him through due to contact issues, you are going to unleash like the car behind, which happened with Martin Gosby. And let's see what that GT Omega can do. It's a front wing there at Champions Wall, so not sure who that belongs to. But right now, GT Omega driver of Ivan Kalami is looking on D'Amatos around the outside. We haven't seen that very often today. Is he going to cut back in? Can't quite do it. He needs to try and find something extra. He's got 2 twisters in front of him and 2 laps to go, so can he get 1 a lap? Is he going to finish? He can finish a potential 6th place, which will be a great result for him, but both those twisters are going to want as much points as possible for that Constructor Championship campaign.
Yeah, and if they're clever, they can almost use each other to block. I mean, almost so close now that they can make themselves block Calames, and it doesn't look like he has the straight line speed to really get right up behind D'Amatos down the long back straight. However, he does seem that he has the tyres and brakes to get past him, so perhaps if he can force something into the hairpin or into that final corner, be really late on the brakes and make a
he jumps move. Then, he's again almost touching the twister.
Got so much more traction.
Exactly, I mean the gap at the front as well, 2 seconds flat now, 2.047. Let's see what Ivan Kalamis can do then on D'Amatos. D'Amatos uncertain of where he wants to go. He's got the outside line. It's a drag race into the chicane. Can Kalamis get it done? He's broke very late. Almost a bit of contact. Great defending. Patel gets a very scruffy exit off the exit of the final corner as they go through a bit of traffic and into the final lap then. Two to go, sorry, 2 to go.
Ivan Desley, his brakes failed earlier, and Kalamis is right on D'Amatos. I mean, that was so close to an incident there between those two into that chicane.
And the thing is,
Almost crashed.
as you said, GT teammate Alban Desney's brake failed, so he needs a good result now to try and compensate for that in terms of constructors. Kalamis needs to try and shift those two twister cars, I beg your pardon, as soon as possible.
Well, also, if he's got the same car as Esley, so the same brakes presumably, and that means surely he's open to the same sort of failure. So he's got to be really careful, especially if his brakes fail into the final chicane. He could take out those two in a crash, so he's got to be really careful.
Yeah, and here he goes then down at Casino Hairpin once again. Down the straight they come. Let's see what Kalamis can do. He doesn't quite have enough, and I think that, as you said, the two twisters using each other there as a slipstream to try and pull away, and that's really worked well. But they've got to be careful they don't get too close. As Patel got a scruffy exit last time, doesn't this time. He takes him into the grass there. That's what I've noticed. Is Kalami's going to get moving to turn one. He got a great run off the exit of the final corner. He looks to the inside. Can he get it done? Still defending his D'Amatos. He goes very deep, but that is superb defending. In towards the final. Let's just watch this then. Jack Keithley. Let's just take the final couple of corners on board into the chicane. He's driven a picture perfect race today. Mr. Quiet, as they call him. He's into the final chicane. He's got the job done. He's lived up to all the expectations that's been kind of set of him. And across the line comes the Precision Motorsports driver to win round 5 of the Canadian Grand Prix. A fantastic drive there by Jack Keithley. And 0.8 seconds behind was the debutant of the World Series on his return, the defending champion Jeffrey Rietveld. So a great start to his championship campaign. And look at Milwaukee, 3rd place there for him. Great result.
I'm really happy about that, weaving his car side to side. And meanwhile, the battle between Patel, D'Amatos and Kalamis is really heated up onto the final corner. Could we see a last lap pass between any of these guys? Since Patel's too far ahead to be shot down, but
Kalamis is going to try it.
D'Amatos.
He's gone round the outside. Enough momentum, he's got to risk it. Oh, he's been pushed into the track, he goes for it. That's crazy, and he still can't quite get it done. He needs to snap back. It's going to be side by side to the finish. Kalamis has got it right when it counted. He's seen it to the final lap, and a very deserving victory there. And D'Amatos will be gutted with that one. But
lost it in the final straight.
Rob van Starkenberg finishes in a good 9th place there. He's had a very exciting race today. He's probably been in the most action out of everyone, but what a win there by Jack Keithley.
Looks like a brake failure on Lakovic here, or some sort of problem, because his brakes are really smoky that he's going to come across in 11th place after he's perhaps the subject of some controversy after that incident with Duvallard earlier in the race.
Absolutely, but in terms of the championship, that's been a dream come true for Jack Keithley. That's exactly what he wanted. Jeffrey Rietveld, I think, has definitely proved himself as a championship threat after a very exceptional performance. So even he couldn't quite get the job done, but he'll be very happy with 2nd place. Timo Butto, look at that, 3rd and 4th. Spectacular result by them.
Yeah, really great team drive from those two, especially after taking the pole. But Jack Keithley, what a win from him. Fantastic start. Great pit stops, just a shame about losing the lead because of those two guys, Van Starkenberg and Patel, battling in front of him. But after he got it back due to Rietveld's drive-through penalty, there was no stopping him, and he drove to a very dominant win today.
Couldn't agree more. Right, at that time of the race then, who's your driver of the day then?
Well, I have to say, Keithley made such an intelligent start. It will be boring perhaps to pick the winner. But also Van Starkenberg, with all that fantastic defence against particularly Patel. They had a great battle. But I'd probably have to say Keithley after that fantastic, intelligent drive of him to take the win.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really close finish as well between Jeffrey Rietveld and 1st place man Jack Keithley. But I couldn't honestly pick a driver of the day. There's been so many contenders out there. I mean, Rob van Starkenberg and Mohamed Patel both did exceptional jobs. Jack Keithley deserved the win, gave it everything he had out there. Jeffrey Rietveld to come back after like a 4-month absence without sim racing to finish 2nd. So I'm going to say the entire top 10 drivers of the day today. So, but
yeah,
absolutely,
that's probably fair enough.
Absolutely fantastic driving, very low attrition rate as well. I mean, we still had 20 finishes during the race, so honestly, fantastic race, a pleasure to commentate on. And if this is a sign of things to come for tomorrow's World Championship race, you won't want to miss it. So don't forget to tune in live at 16 GMT here on simrace.tv for the Formula Sim Racing World Championship. And from me, Liam Jenkins, my co-commentator for today's race, very well done to you as well, sir. James Tucker, you did a great job. We will see you next round for round 6 of the Formula Sim Racing World Series. Goodbye.